The warm and simple birthday celebration began with a smile in an apartment located in the city center, where love and happiness filled the atmosphere. Amidst the festivities, a birthday cake, meticulously adorned with glowing candles, proudly stood on the table. The room was illuminated by cheerful faces and sparkling eyes during the celebration. On this special day, our protagonist, Yiwu, a young man with a kind heart, celebrated his 18th birthday. Seeing his family gathered together always made him feel sentimental. He felt like someone who had been traveling but now found a safe place, holding tightly to a simple hope, the dream of a happy life with his beloved family. However, the happiness turned into an unexpected tragedy when the walls of their apartment came crashing down. A portion of the building suddenly collapsed, plunging from a terrifying height, with his mother, father, and sister falling along with it. In shock, Yiwu could only stare wide-eyed while shouting their names. His focus was entirely on the horrifying sight in front of him, watching them fall, which ensnared him in the tragic fate that now engulfed him and his family. But before Yiwu could process the loss, a monstrous creature emerged from the debris, resembling a dragon from fairy tales, with a large body and a deathly aura. Alone and despairing, Yiwu could only scream in horror upon witnessing the creature, like a grim reaper heralding a message of death. Suddenly, Yiwu snapped out of his nightmare, finding himself in a classroom, seated amid a crowd of other students. His scream disrupted the quiet lesson, startling both his classmates and the teacher. He was relieved to discover it had only been a dream, yet the terrifyingly vivid images continued to haunt him. His heart raced in his chest, and the lingering fear cast a long, paralyzing shadow over his mind. Following the disturbance, the teacher, visibly angered, pointed towards Yiwu. "Is this history class making you sleepy, or do you feel you already know all the material?" the teacher inquired. Then, he asked him to explain the Earth-All era to the entire class. With a regretful expression, Yiwu immediately addressed the teacher. "I'm sorry, sir. I studied until late last night, which led me to accidentally fall asleep in class." As he began to elaborate, the teacher abruptly interrupted with a firm, "Enough." He didn't let him continue. The teacher then ordered him to stand at the back of the classroom. Realizing his mistake, he did so without protesting or making excuses. After interrupting, the teacher felt a sense of relief. He recalled the student's reputation as a notable nerd. If the student had given the correct answer, it would have been like a slap in the teacher's face. The lesson continued, and the teacher instructed the students to note his explanation about the Earth-All era, which would be on the exam. He explained that in 2036 distortions in space and time occurred, transforming the face of the Earth into a place filled with threats. Powerful monsters unexpectedly appeared and attacked humanity. At the same time as these emerging threats, humans also gained mysterious powers. After years of fighting these calamities, 5 main alliances were eventually formed that successfully suppressed the monsters' power and established a new world order. This world is known as the Earth-All era, a world filled with danger and mystery. In the midst of the discussion about those dangerous and uncertain times, when everyone was pushing to advance, his face revealed a depth of sadness. While others progressed, he had sadly remained stagnant at level 3, unable to upgrade. When the school bell rang, students eagerly began their journey home, filling the school gate with a lively chatter and movement. As students dispersed, Yiwu's name echoed from behind. He turned, coming face to face with 3 figures, the most prominent being the infamous Luo Feng. Quickly, Yiwu asked him, "What do you want?" Without missing a beat, Luo Feng clenched his fist and then firmly told Yiwu, "You have to pay me a monthly protection fee." However, Yiwu refused. "I once protected you like a big brother when you were bullied by the seniors. Now, you're demanding protection money from me." In response to Yiwu's refusal, Luo Feng landed a heavy punch to Yiwu's stomach and then forcefully pushed his head to the ground, pressing it against the rough terrain. With a disdainful tone, he insulted, "I was blind back then, thinking I was following a genius who was a level 3 warrior when I first entered school." Following Luo Feng's insulting words, a sudden shout echoed, "Stop it. What are you doing?" Luo Feng swiftly turned towards the voice, only to be met with a kick aimed directly at him. The blow landed squarely on his chin, sending him flying several meters backward. Panic spread across the faces of his friends when they recognized the one who intervened, Yunfei, Yiwu's sister. Despite being only 16, Yunfei was a level 7 warrior, famed for single-handedly defeating a level 10 monster, a remarkable achievement given her age and experience. Realizing they were no match for Yunfei's skills and fury, the bullies quickly retreated. After the confrontation, Yunfei checked on her brother, comforting him, "Ignore their words. Even if you're only a level 3 now, I believe you'll become an exceptional warrior." Seeing the concern and belief in his sister's eyes, Yiwu looked at Yunfei very determinedly, lightly touching his sister's head, and said, "You're my sister, and I won't give up that easily." After the dramatic event, Yiwu and Yunfei walked home with newfound determination and hope. Through the city streets they knew so well, they headed towards an apartment building, a place where they had lived for a long time. As the door to the house opened, they were immediately welcomed by a warm atmosphere. Their family had planned a small party to celebrate Yiwu's 18th birthday. His parents and sister expressed their cheerful congratulations, making the room lively and warm with their happiness and affection. However, even with all the joy around him, Yiwu seemed distracted, looking at the birthday cake in his hand. He became strongly determined to protect his family and their happiness. He realized that to achieve that, he needed to become a stronger individual. As he savored the joy around him, his thoughts were suddenly broken by an unfamiliar sensation. Like a sudden alert, reawakening the nightmare he had experienced when dozing off in class. He struggled to distinguish reality from his dreams. In his mind, he pondered, "It's not gonna be real, is it?" To prevent the nightmare from becoming reality, Yiwu suggested celebrating his birthday by dining out. Upon hearing this, his mother appeared disappointed as she had prepared many special dishes. However, his father reminded her to respect Yiwu's wish on his special day, which brought a smile to Yunfei's face, especially since they hadn't dined out together in a long time. Afterwards, they arrived at a restaurant downtown and seemed to enjoy the dishes served, leaving with happy expressions. Yiwu, in his thoughts, was grateful because nothing happened, thinking that he had just become paranoid. Shortly after the energy burst, a plane crack linked to another dimension appeared. People immediately panicked and alerted the defense forces, anticipating the threat of emerging monsters. Moments later, a many-legged creature emerged, revealing itself as a giant spider with menacing red eyes. Panic surged among those nearby as they scrambled to escape, shocked by the sudden appearance of such a monster in the safe zone. Cornered with no escape, Yiwu and his family faced the Ghost Eye Demon Spider, a level 15 rare elite creature, signifying an extraordinary threat. Their situation seemed hopeless. In that desperate moment, the father, always the protector of the family, ran straight towards the monster. With a voice firm and filled with determination, he commanded Yiwu, "Protect your mother and sister, and run as far away as possible." The weight of the family's hope rested on Yiwu's shoulders. As the father leapt high into the air, his clenched fists wrapped in energy, he shouted bravely, declaring his decision to prevent the demon spider from hurting his family, even if it meant sacrificing his own life. Following his declaration, the father attacked the demon spider relentlessly. Yet, the creature seemed unaffected and mocked the father's efforts with human-like speech, denouncing humans as weak creatures. As it uttered those words, it released a large spine from its tail, resembling a sharp spear, which swiftly shot towards the father, piercing him and throwing him several meters across the ground. Upon seeing her husband's predicament, the mother's heart sank. Swiftly, she instructed Yiwu to take Yifei to safety as she rushed towards her husband to assist him. However, as she approached, the demon spider lashed out with its long legs, knocking her several meters away, and leaving her injured. The interruption angered the demon spider, which had been fixated on the father. It now redirected its malicious intent towards the mother, with a menacing plan to devour her once it was finished with the father. Now, the monster stood right in front of its helpless prey, ready to savor the enticing feast of a level 10 warrior. Out of nowhere, a swift whoosh cut through the air. Before the demon spider could react, 2 arrows flew with remarkable speed and precision, piercing into the joints of the creature's leg. Yunfei, revealed as the archer, taunted the demon spider, challenging it to come towards her, with her bow drawn and arrows ready to launch. Irritated by the interruption, the demon spider redirected its wrath towards Yunfei. It lunged swiftly, aiming to ensnare her, but Yunfei, with nimble agility, dodged the vicious counterattack. In this dire situation, recognizing the urgent need to ensure her family's safety, Yunfei quickly instructed her brother, Yiwu, to escort their parents to safety while she bravely faced the demon spider alone. Upon hearing Yunfei's instructions, Yiwu's face turned pale as his nightmare turned into reality. Being only a level 3 novice, he was confused and unsure of what he could do against such a formidable level 15 monster. In the face of absolute power, the demon spider reveled in seeing its prey consumed by despair. Seizing this moment of dominance, it unleashed a spear-like weapon from its mouth, striking Yunfei and inflicting a painful wound upon her. As she crumpled to the ground, a scream of pain escaped her lips, her hand instinctively clutching the injury. But there was no respite for her. The demon spider quickly loomed over her, clearly eager to savor its catch. To the creature, a young human woman must have seemed like an especially tempting treat. The gravity of the situation drained the color from her face. Paralyzed by overwhelming fear, she found herself immobilized, even as the creature's legs ominously approached her. Yet, just as all seemed lost, Yiwu burst onto the scene, bravely intercepting the spider's next assault with his bare hands. While visibly trembling from the effort, his determination was palpable. With an urgent tone, he implored his sister to rise, knowing he could only fend off the creature for a short time. As the aftermath of Yiwu's brave interception unraveled, the demon spider retaliated with fury. Using its multiple legs, it pierced him repeatedly. Each strike caused blood to spurt out, creating a scene of suffering. Witnessing this, his sister could hardly contain her grief. Her voice, choked with sorrow, called out to him, echoing the pain they both felt. Summoning the remnants of his strength amidst the pain, Yiwu's eyes locked onto his sister's. Through the fog of his suffering, he communicated one last wish to her, to leave him and save herself. Every stab wound, every surge of pain, and the increasing moments of coughing painted a tragic picture of his deteriorating condition. In these dire moments, as the weight of regret bore down on him, he lamented his lack of strength. If only I had been stronger, upgraded even, none of this would have happened. Why did I not rise to the occasion? As he lay on the brink of death, his hand weakly raised to the sky, a symbol of his deep-seated regret. The thought consumed him, why am I so weak? He desperately wished for a different ending to this tale. The grim indicator of his dire situation was evident. His health points had plummeted to a mere 1%. And death was looming close. As the shadow of death loomed ever closer, an insistent system alert resonated within his consciousness. The alert informed him that his experience points threshold had been reached, activating the system's king account. Due to the host's current incapacity to act, the system autonomously selected a random extraction. The card drawn was Emperor Kai Yan. Meanwhile, Yunfei was making every effort to escape, driven by the thought of her brother's sacrifice. As she ran, tears welled up in her eyes, and she whispered apologies. But just as hope seemed within reach, the demon spider suddenly appeared, eliminating her chance of escape. Overwhelmed by despair, tears finally spilled from her eyes as she realized the precious time her brother had sacrificed for her escape was slipping away. Realizing she couldn't escape with the demon spider already blocking her path, Yunfei decided that if she were to die, she'd avenge her brother's sacrifice. Filled with burning determination, she charged directly at the demon spider. Suddenly, just before the confrontation ensued, a loud shout echoed from behind her, "Get out of the way!" In a split second, a blinding beam of light shot past her with immense force, striking the demon spider with such power that it was knocked to the ground. Following the impact, a silhouette emerged, shrouded in intense flames. She gazed at the fiery figure with uncertainty clouding her eyes, murmuring hesitantly, "Are you my brother?" The individual before her, now embodying the formidable powers of the Kai Yan Emperor's account, was Yiwu with a newfound mastery over fire. Yiwu glanced at his sister, signaling her to move away from the impending battle. Soon after, from the debris, the demon spider emerged with renewed fervor. It was bewildered and angry. A level 3 human dared to challenge its might. Yiwu was clearly its target. With calm resolve, Yiwu summoned his flaming sword. The sword, a direct manifestation of his newfound power, gleamed menacingly. Without hesitation, he launched himself towards the spider. Their movements were swift, a battle of speed and agility, marked only by occasional sparks of energy and dust thrown up by their force. Swiftly, Yiwu sliced with his flaming sword, severing several of the spider's legs. The creature reacted with pain and surprise, not expecting such formidable power from a level 3 warrior. However, the course of the battle seemed to shift after Yiwu's initial strike. A sensation surged within him, threatening to tear him apart from the inside. It became evident that the immense power of the Kai Yan Emperor was more than his body could endure. Seeing this, the demon spider anticipated its impending victory, seemingly convinced that Yiwu would soon succumb and perish from the overwhelming force he had recklessly channeled as a mere level 3 warrior. As Yiwu felt the strain from accessing such power, he became aware of the golden transformation energy that now locked his health points at just 1%. Recognizing his predicament, he knew he had to defeat the monster before the energy ran out or face certain death. The demon spider, sensing Yiwu's weakening strength, began to consider other pursuits, possibly seeking out a stronger adversary. As it considered the fight won, Yiwu mustered his remaining energy, manifesting a fierce ring of flames that ensnared the creature. "Stop right there. This fire will be your demise," Yiwu declared with firm resolve. The intensity of his power and determination clearly took the demon spider aback, making it restless and increasingly fearful. As Yiwu readied himself to strike the demon spider, the sudden pounding of footsteps signaled the arrival of elite warriors. As the group passed by him, Yiwu raised his hand in warning and said, "Wait, don't go over there, you'll die." But to them, Yiwu was merely an insignificant level 3 warrior. Ignoring Yiwu's caution and confident in their combined might, they swiftly surrounded the demon spider, launching a structured assault. They believed they could easily defeat the creature, especially as it had only 30% of its health points remaining. Yet the demon spider merely laughed at their arrogance, viewing them as no more significant than ants ready to be crushed. Abruptly, a massive fissure erupted beneath the warriors' feet, and in an instant, a powerful spider web ensnared them tightly. They found themselves trapped, ready to be devoured. After being ensnared, the warriors could only watch in horror as the demon spider began its dreadful feast. It not only drained their experience points but also consumed their blood, transforming them into gaunt figures of skin and bone. Each drop enhanced the spider's power. Meanwhile, Yiwu sensed something amiss about this demon spider. He realized the battle ahead wouldn't be easy and braced himself for an even greater challenge. The demon spider had leveled up 3 times after absorbing a vast amount of experience points. Its transformation led to a more formidable and terrifying physique. With its many eyes gleaming with murderous intent, the demon spider swiftly launched a deadly attack on Yiwu. Defensively, Yiwu used his flaming sword to hold back the demon spider's menacing sharp fangs. As the battle raged on, Yiwu found himself unable to counterattack, leaving him solely on the defense. Adding to his challenges, his golden transformation was running out, pressing him to end the battle as quickly as possible. Using its many legs, the demon spider relentlessly attacked Yiwu. Unable to fight back, he was thrown hard against a tree, which then fell over. As he lay on the ground, a system notification appeared. Host energy and health detected below 10%. The ultimate red storm is now available, use it or not. Upon receiving the system's notification, Yiwu forced himself to rise. Fueled by the memories of enduring 3 years without an upgrade and the ridicule of countless people, he addressed the demon spider. "Today, I'll show you the true strength of what you dismissively call a loser." Then, Yiwu thrust his flaming sword into the ground, and flames began to dance around him. Those flames, true to their name the ultimate red storm, were like a storm sweeping away the demon spider. A painful roar from the monster resonated. The demon spider, enveloped in flames, sensed the fire wasn't just any flame. It contained the rhythm of a realm's emperor. As the fiery energy consumed it, the creature turned to ash. But before vanishing completely, it warned, "Master Kang will not let you go." After defeating the monster, Yiwu was greeted by a shower of valuable items falling from the sky, adding 20,000 experience points to his account. However, despite the resounding victory, something seemed amiss. He stood still, motionless, as if he had turned into a statue. After exerting an immense amount of energy, he collapsed to the ground. But before losing consciousness, he pushed himself to pick up the equipment and items as swiftly as possible. As his eyesight began to narrow, his hands kept moving, eagerly reaching for and collecting all the items in front of him. Just before his vision closed in completely, he managed to secure everything in time. 15,000 coins, a level 15 magic crystal, a ring of luck, poisonous spider silks, and a ghost eye demon spider gland. Upon his injuries, Yiwu's internal system automatically used 10,000 experience points to heal him swiftly, leaving him with 10,000 points. Shortly after, his health was fully restored to 100%. When he woke up, he found himself in a vast, unfamiliar space that resembled an endless galaxy, leaving him both awestruck and bewildered. A formidable man in gleaming red armor appeared before him. Yiwu speculated whether this man was the source of the strength he had drawn upon earlier. The man introduced himself as Emperor Kai Yan, someone Yiwu had never encountered before. This meeting signaled a change in his account system, pointing to new adventures on the horizon. Yiwu soon realized he had been upgraded to a king account system. This system housed countless king accounts from across the universe. He could use his remaining experience points to access these accounts, but unlocking each account required a certain amount of experience points. The system informed him that after accumulating his experience points to level 10, he successfully unlocked and activated a random account, the Kai Yan Emperor. Upon realizing this, Yiwu was taken aback. It became clear to him that all his hard work over the years wasn't for nothing. It had been absorbed by the system against his will. With the power of the king account system now available to him, he felt that he was on the brink of the pinnacle of his life. Each account in the system provided information about its historical origins, skill attributes, and weaponry. Every account had its own unique attribute. Realizing this, Yiwu became incredibly enthused. His primary goal was to create an army of kings, each representing all the attributes. In doing so, he would have no weaknesses. Suddenly, a system notification popped up in front of him, informing him that he still had remaining experience points and presented him with two options: to upgrade his link level or unlock another skill. Without hesitation, Yiwu gave the command to the system to raise his link level, considering survival his top priority. The system confirmed his request, and based on the available experience points, his link level was increased by 2 levels, making his current link level 12. Following that, a powerful energy surged within Yiwu, reaching every part of him and filling him with a fresh sense of strength. As his link level rose, Yiwu wondered whether his basic attributes had also improved. Yet, when he checked his personal level, it remained steadfast at level 3. While in the system space, Yiwu turned around upon hearing a voice very familiar to him. In an instant, he woke up and called out, "Feifei." He then realized he was in a room, lying on a bed. Getting up, he surveyed the room, wondering, is this a hospital? Next, he checked his body and was stunned to find all his wounds had completely healed. But the fact that it cost him 10,000 experience points felt like a deep loss to him. As he began to get out of bed, he heard the voices of Feifei and his mother. They seemed to be arguing with a doctor about the expensive treatment costs. Their voices echoed from outside, reaching into the room where he was under treatment. As the sound of their voices filtered through the room, relief washed over him, realizing that their presence meant they were safe and unharmed. The doctor informed Feifei that the cost of treating her family was extremely high because they had been exposed to a deadly poison from an elite monster. Without treatment, her father could only survive a month, and her brother, Yiwu, might only have a week. Upon hearing the doctor's news, Feifei was deeply shaken, and her condition seemed to worsen as she began to cough persistently. In an effort to find a solution, their mother proposed raising money by selling their house. Suddenly, echoing down the corridor, a voice declared, "The house is the foundation of our lives." As everyone turned towards the origin of the sound, their surprise was evident upon realizing the voice belonged to Yiwu. Yiwu stood firmly in the corridor, expressing his refusal to sell the house. To him, the house was not just a physical building but a symbol of the family's love and happiness. Determinedly, he promised to find another way to gather the necessary funds. Concerned, Yiwu approached Yunfei, noting her pale complexion and darkened eyelids, a sign of poison from a level 15 elite monster. Seeing Yiwu beside her, Yunfei asked anxiously, "Brother, how did you manage to get out of bed?" Yiwu replied calmly, "I'm better now." Then added, "Rest. Talking too much isn't good for you." Seeing him like this, the doctor was greatly surprised by the sudden change in Yiwu's condition. Even though Yiwu had previously sustained the most severe injuries and his body was filled with poison, now he appeared strong and healed. "How did you recover so quickly?" the doctor asked in amazement. However, for Yiwu, the reasons behind his recovery were not important. What mattered more to him were the 3 family members still in critical condition. He inquired, "How much will their treatment cost?" The doctor replied, "It will amount to 300,000. Deep down, the doctor still couldn't believe Yiwu's situation. Yiwu's rate of healing, which was only at level 3, was unbelievable, even surpassing those at level 60. However, Yiwu remained resolute. Despite being shocked by the amount mentioned, he promised to get the money within an hour. He also asked the doctor to immediately treat his family. The doctor was hesitant, but seeing Yiwu's determination, he decided to give him a chance. As dusk approached, the sun began to set, a spectacle clearly visible from the skyscrapers. Amidst the hustle and bustle of the city, Yiwu sat in contemplation on a bench, devising a strategy to gather 300,000 yuan within just an hour. His savings, even with an additional 15,000 he secured from defeating the Ghost Eye Demon Spider, were clearly not enough. His quickest option was to sell various items and equipment he possessed. Yiwu accessed the items section in his system, browsing through his stored goods and equipment. He found a rare level 15 magic crystal, the most valuable item in his possession, obtained from the Ghost Eye Demon Spider. Yiwu hoped the crystal would fetch enough to cover the 300,000 yuan in hospital expenses. However, a new problem emerged, wherein how could he sell the crystal? Participating in an auction would take more time than he had, and as a level 3 warrior, he clearly didn't meet the minimum level requirement. Ultimately, he settled on the black market, his only remaining option, a place without level restrictions and where transactions could be concluded rapidly. Concealing his identity with a cloak, he navigated through the slums, making his way towards the underground black market in Zone Safe 9. where he had taken residence. Before long, Yiwu reached the underground black market and immediately descended the stairs. At the entrance of the market, two imposing figures stood like statues. They were the gatekeepers, tasked with ensuring the security and privacy of the black market from the watchful eyes of the outside world. While trying to enter the black market, Yiwu was promptly stopped by two guards stationed at the doorway. Their expressions were questioning. This wasn't a place suitable for kids. Do you even know where you are? And why would you dare to enter here? They interrogated. With a composed demeanor, Yiwu responded, I'm well aware of where I am. No one comes to a black market simply for amusement. I'm here for business, to sell an item. The skepticism was evident on the face of one guard, especially the one with a prominent scar. He countered, this isn't a place for kids' games or trinkets. It's best you leave. Unfazed, Yiwu insisted, I came here because I possess an item of significant value. Please, grant me entry to conduct my business. The other guard, whose ears were adorned with large earrings, displayed evident impatience. In disbelief, he scoffed, what could a kid like you possibly offer of value? He quickly pulled at Yiwu's cloak, signaling a clear intent for him to depart. Just as tensions escalated, a commanding voice intervened. Hold on. From behind the entrance emerged an elderly figure, recognized as Elder Lee. He was accompanied by an escort of guards, and the respect they held for him was palpable. Elder Lee addressed the situation. The kid speaks truthfully. The black market welcomes all traders, regardless of age. Turning his attention to Yiwu, Elder Lee curiously inquired, now, show me this valuable item you speak of. Yiwu, sensing an ally in Elder Lee, felt a wave of relief. With a swift motion, Yiwu revealed from beneath his cloak a radiant red gem. Holding it up, he posed a question. Elder Lee, does this crystal interest you? Elder Lee's eyes widened in genuine surprise. At a mere glance, he noticed its value, a rare level 15 magic crystal. It's astonishing that a kid like you, presumably a level 3, possesses such a rare magic crystal. We should discuss this further, he remarked. After Elder Lee nodded, the guards immediately opened the entrance to the black market. When Yiwu walked in, the setting surprised him. Instead of a dark, grimy environment, he found himself in a lively space that looked and felt like a busy bar. Laughter filled the air, and there was entertainment all around. Waitresses in cat-themed costumes served the customers, adding to the festive ambience. Suddenly, Yiwu stopped in his tracks when he was confronted by two individuals who looked like hired mercenaries. These mercenaries stared at him with intensity. He was a level 3 adventurer who had boldly ventured into the black market, a place where even those of higher levels would think twice before entering. To them, he had come seeking a profitable trade in rare items, a notion that stirred their growing greed. Confronting him, they demanded to see what he had brought with him. Their menacing gestures made their intentions clear. They aimed to intimidate Yiwu and take all of his valuables. As the tension escalated, a guard stepped forward, revealing that Yiwu had been invited by Elder Lee to his private chamber. Harassing him was akin to directly challenging Elder Lee, a move they'd surely regret. Upon hearing the name Elder Lee, they immediately released Yiwu. Both mercenaries watched as he was escorted by the guard towards Elder Lee's private chambers. One of the mercenaries couldn't help but remark that Elder Lee, affiliated with the Huang Zheng group, wasn't always associated with good things. Upon reaching the VIP room, Yiwu was invited inside and gestured to take a seat. Without wasting any time, Elder Lee got straight to business, showing no interest in idle chatter. However, something in his demeanor seemed off. It felt as if he was deliberately trying to devalue the magic crystal. Before Elder Lee could continue, Yiwu interrupted. He demanded an honest and fair evaluation, emphasizing that he wasn't some naive child who could be easily deceived. He urged him to offer a fair price, especially since he was pressed for time. In response, Elder Lee quoted a price of 100,000 yuan, using his index finger for emphasis. He wanted to highlight that this wasn't an ordinary magic crystal with a mere value of 1 or 2,000 yuan, but a rare variant. Feeling undervalued and disrespected by such a lowball offer, Yiwu rose from his seat. He was certain that the true value of his magic crystal was at least 200,000 yuan. If this was Elder Lee's stance, he'd find another buyer. But as he attempted to exit, two guards barred his way. Elder Lee mentioned there might have been some misunderstanding. In this room, his decision was final. The desires of sellers mattered little. If he desired something, refusal wasn't an option. Elder Lee placed 100,000 yuan on the table, telling him, be smart and leave. This is a lot for someone like you. Yiwu looked at the money hesitantly, standing on the brink of a decision to accept or decline. For him, there were some situations that couldn't be resolved with sheer power alone. Suddenly, a commotion outside the room suggested an intrusion. It seemed as if someone wanted to enter after learning of a transaction taking place in Elder Lee's chamber. A guard with a masked face forcefully pushed aside two other guards, making way for a beautiful lady named Miss Mo, who seemed interested in the precious item being traded. With a hint of mischief in her eyes, Miss Mo exclaimed, "Let this young lady join in the fun too." Elder Lee quickly recognized the lady and looked puzzled. "Why are you in a place like this? Are you trying to snatch my transaction?" he inquired. Miss Mo gazed at him coldly. "In the black market, anyone can bid if they offer a higher price. You, Elder Lee, should understand this rule better than me." Elder Lee remained silent, seemingly acknowledging the truth in her words. Miss Mo then approached Yiwu and seductively tried to offer him a price of 300,000 yuan for the rare magic crystal. Elder Lee stood up in shock. He just bid 200,000 a moment ago. Why suddenly 300,000? "What do you mean?" he demanded. Miss Mo smiled casually. "Being a rich lady, adding an extra 100,000 yuan is trivial compared to saving face for the Huangjing group. Besides, this lady isn't like your group, grabbing things from a level 3 kid." Elder Lee signaled his guards to depart. As they began to leave, Miss Mo waved her hand and said in a soft tone, "Leave slowly, and next time there's a valuable item, don't forget to call me." Afterward, Yiwu thanked Miss Mo and tried to offer her another item. However, Miss Mo quickly declined, saying she wasn't interested. Miss Mo fixed Yiwu with a sharp gaze. "Don't thank me. I aim to humiliate Elder Lee. Our meeting and your business are mere coincidences." As she prepared to leave, Miss Mo raised her hand in a commanding gesture. "Give him some money," she said dismissively. "As for the magic crystal, do as you see fit." The guard replied, "Okay, miss." Intrigued by Miss Mo's audacious demeanor, Yiwu felt a growing desire to win her over in the future. At the hospital, a doctor was examining a patient's condition. The patient's wife, anxious, asked how long her husband would need care. The doctor hesitated, explaining that it was difficult to predict based on the current situation. Suddenly, the room's door burst open. A portly man, identified as the hospital's director, stood there, visibly angry. He had heard that a patient hadn't settled their hospital bill and demanded to know why they were still receiving treatment. Everyone in the room turned, shocked by his sudden entrance. The doctor calmly stated that while the emergency room charges had been covered, the hospitalization fees remained unpaid. This information only further infuriated the director. He angrily confronted the doctor, grasping his clothes, and pointed out that the hospital wasn't a charity, and that medications weren't cheap. The doctor, attempting to defuse the situation, mentioned that the son of this family had left to gather the required money. He pleaded for a little patience. However, this seemed to only heighten the director's rage. With a sarcastic tone, the director snapped at the doctor, suggesting he was being naive to think a mere level 3 warrior could possibly come up with such a substantial amount. The director, having prioritized the cost of the medicine over the life at stake, loomed over the patient, hinting that the medicine's price was more than the worth of the patient's life. He then attempted to disconnect the patient's breathing support. Suddenly, Yunfei intervened, grabbing the director's hand. With a desperate tone, she explained that her brother was on his way with the money. She begged for a little more time. Distrust evident in his eyes, the director pushed to continue his actions, but Yunfei stood firm, tears streaming down her face. In a moment of intense frustration, the director violently struck Yunfei, causing her to fall backward. Suddenly, Yiwu burst in, forcefully kicking the door open. His face was full of anger. "Stop," he shouted. The director, infuriated by the damaged door, grabbed Yiwu's shirt. "Who are you? How dare you damage the door and make me lose even more money?" he demanded. Unfazed by the director's actions, Yiwu was angered because his family had been harmed by him. With a sharp glare and his body beginning to be enveloped in flames from his intense emotions, he questioned, "You used this hand to hurt my family." Since the director's hand was still gripping Yiwu's shirt, the flames began to induce and spread, burning his hand. In a panic, the director rushed out of the room in search of a fire extinguisher and immediate medical attention for his injury. Shortly after the incident, a doctor hurried over to Yiwu, his face lined with concern. "What happened here? Why did the director's hand catch fire?" Remaining calm but stern, Yiwu responded, "It was my doing, a small punishment for the harm he brought to my family." Without missing a beat, he added, "I'll take care of the medical expenses. Add an extra 10,000 yuan for his treatment." Once the tension subsided, Yiwu handed over a black card containing 310,000 yuan to cover his family's medical expenses. "Please ensure my family receives the best care," he requested of the doctor. The doctor, giving a nod of assurance, replied, "Though our hospital is expensive, we never cheat our patients. Rest assured, your family will receive the best care." Expressing gratitude, Yiwu said, "Thank you for trusting me and giving me the opportunity to gather the money. I'll remember this kindness." As the doctor was about to leave the room, he responded, "Don't thank me. It's what any doctor should do." Deep down, he was still in disbelief about the self-healing and the capability of collecting such a large sum of money in such a short time. To him, this young man was intriguing. Following that, Yiwu approached his sister. Tears filled her eyes and her body trembled as she expressed her guilt for failing to protect their family, and she tearfully apologized to him. Being a caring brother, Yiwu tried to soothe his sister's feelings. He gently stroked her head and urged, "Don't blame yourself. It wasn't entirely your fault." Following the comforting words, his sister opened up about another matter weighing on her. "I won't be able to participate in tomorrow's dungeon competition at the academy," she said with a hint of sadness. "I had high hopes of winning and using the bonus to help out." Hearing her words, Yiwu became enthusiastic about the dungeon competition. "Is it true that the prize money is incredibly high?" he asked. Yunfei nodded. "Yes, the rumors say the bonus starts at 500,000 yuan. With unwavering confidence, Yiwu replied, "Rest easy and focus on your recovery. Leave the money concerns to your big brother." In his mind, he was already set on emerging as the champion and claiming the bonus. The following morning at the academy, an electric excitement filled the courtyard as students gathered, lining up neatly for the annual competition. The principal stood on the stage and announced to everyone that the bonus offered for this year's dungeon competition was substantial, starting from 500,000 yuan. The generous bonus for this year's dungeon competition can be attributed to our main sponsor, the Hanmo Group. As Miss Mo, representing the Hanmo Group, stood beside the principal, he prompted a hearty round of applause in her honor. Miss Mo's striking beauty and graceful presence turned heads, captivating many in the audience. After revealing the grand prize, the principal shared another thrilling piece of information. The champion of the competition would secure a direct position within the Hanmo Group, joining the esteemed Hanmo Attack Team. For the students, securing a spot in the Hanmo Attack Team was not just about prestige. It signified the beginning of a prosperous journey, a reward that surpassed even the significant monetary bonus. Yet, for Yiwu, the allure lay solely in the monetary reward, with no intentions of aligning himself with the Hanmo Group. Next, the principal disclosed that this year's competition would unfold within the Shadow Forest, a dungeon renowned for housing monsters between levels 5 and 10. The students' shock was palpable upon learning the details. Considering their average prowess stood at level 5, many believed conquering the dungeon would be a formidable challenge. Not only were its baseline monsters at their very level, but the dungeon's climax would pit them against an elite level 10 creature. Moreover, the final boss within the Shadow Forest dungeon was revealed to be the level 10 elite monster, Shadow Dryad, a colossal wooden creature with a menacing demeanor. This revelation made the reason behind the substantial bonus and grand prize clear to the students. Upon discovering that the final boss was merely a level 10 elite Shadow Dryad, Yiwu brimmed with confidence. To him, it felt as though they were simply handing him the money. Given that his link with Emperor Kaiyan had reached level 12, confronting a level 10 elite monster seemed hardly challenging. The principal further detailed that due to the challenges of the dungeon, both PvP and PvE modes would be in play. He then encouraged students to collaborate, allowing them to form teams with a maximum of 5 members. Hearing this information ignited a wave of excitement among the students. They realized that by forming teams, their chances of defeating the elite level 10 Shadow Dryad were significantly amplified. Yet, the threat of ambushes from rival teams remained a looming concern. A student raised his hand and asked the principal, "How do you determine the winner within a team setting?" The principal clarified, "Each student will earn points both from defeating monsters and besting other teams. If a team manages to overcome the Shadow Dryad, the points secured from that victory will be shared evenly among the team members." Finally, with a chilling expression, the principal announced that to immerse everyone in the true spirit of combat, defeating another team in the PvP arena will transfer the opponent's points to the victor. The reaction among the students was one of sheer astonishment and shock upon learning this information, as it was so cruel, indirectly promoting a kill or be killed mentality. With that, the principal announced the onset of the competition, inaugurated by the opening of the portal to the Shadow Forest dungeon. As the competition kicked off, students were quick to scout and recruit teammates they believed had the skills to strengthen their teams and conquer the dungeon challenges. While searching for teammates, many students noticed Yiwu and began mocking him. Despite the taunts, he kept his silence and chose not to react. He chose to distance himself from the crowd. The thought of teaming up with them never crossed his mind, regardless of their pleas. For him, moving solo was the simpler path. Once he reached the registration area, he confidently raised his hand and told the teacher before him, "I want to register." Seeing him by himself, the teacher asked, "Where are your teammates?" With a determined look, he responded, "It's just me." Aware of his level 3 status, the teacher expressed concern, "Going solo can be dangerous. Think it over carefully." Soon after, from behind him, Luo Feng told the teacher, "No need to worry about him. If he's gone, it's hardly a loss." He looked at Luo Feng and asked, "You again? Why?" Shortly after, Luo Feng made an offer. He could join his team, but only if he humiliated himself by barking like a dog. With an impassive face, he asked Luo Feng, "Remind me, how does a dog bark?" Caught off guard, Luo Feng instinctively mimicked a dog's bark. Luo Feng and his friends were taken aback, realizing they'd been skillfully tricked by Yiwu. As his friends processed their astonishment, anger surged within Luo Feng, and he looked ready to retaliate. As the tension escalated, the teacher stepped in to mediate. Noticing the clear disadvantage faced by Yiwu, a level 3, against Luo Feng's superior level 5, the teacher decisively remarked, "If you have a score to settle, do it in the dungeon." Luo Feng's anger was palpable, even though he held himself back. With a fiery glare directed at Yiwu, he cautioned, "Don't think of running. The dungeon awaits, and so do I." Ultimately, the teacher allowed him to participate in the dungeon competition as a one-man team, adding with a sincere tone, "Good luck." After getting the green light, Yiwu headed towards the dungeon portal. Just as he neared it, a system notification popped up, granting him 2,000 experience points as a bonus for his first time entering a dungeon. As Yiwu stepped into the dungeon, Miss Mo caught sight of him approaching the portal. A hint of recognition dawned on her, recalling their earlier meeting at the black market. Miss Mo found herself increasingly intrigued by him. For someone of merely level 3 to have braved the black market, and now to be setting foot in a level 5-10 dungeon solo, it was undeniably bold. Upon entering the Shadow Forest dungeon, Yiwu realized the setup was designed to scatter each team randomly, preventing early team confrontations. Without missing a beat, he moved swiftly, farming and defeating the monsters he encountered. The flames of his assaults pierced the forest's darkness, shining like a beacon and causing his points to surge steadily. With each monster he defeated, his score steadily climbed. His fiery prowess made quick work of countless small spiders, each contributing a mere 10 points to his score. After defeating numerous spider monsters, Yiwu decided to focus on seeking and defeating high-level monsters to enhance his chances of victory. While exploring for high-level monsters, Yiwu noticed a group of spiders. Intrigued by their direction, he followed them, hoping to find something of interest. Following the spiders, he unknowingly ventured deep into a dense forest. Startled by the sight before him, he found a scene where a red spider web entrapped a girl, and surrounding her were numerous spider monster eggs. The system's information revealed that the ensnared girl was Ruan Tian, a level 5 therapist. The girl slowly regained consciousness in unfamiliar surroundings. Memories of being captured by spider monsters flooded back, prompting her to scream for help. Before she could continue, Yiwu appeared before her, swiftly whispering, "Stay quiet if you want to survive." Recognizing him, the girl realized he was Yunfei's brother, Yiwu, known in their academy as someone who couldn't be upgraded. Yiwu skillfully landed on a tree branch near her. "Keep your mouth shut," he admonished with a stern look. "I won't risk my life saving you again if you attract more danger." Ruan Tian, feeling a mix of gratitude and despair, replied, "Thank you for your kindness, but it's impossible to cut through a level 8 elite spider web. You should go." Yiwu, still holding the web, responded firmly, "Stay obedient and silent. I'm doing this because you're my sister's friend." He confidently addressed the spiderweb, declaring it to be just a level 8 elite web. In an instant, he ignited a flame and the web burned away, freeing her. As she caught her breath, Yiwu gave her a sharp glance. "Leave this place and find your team," he commanded firmly. Before she could react, a corrosive liquid dripped onto Yiwu's shoulder. He looked up, startled to see the Red Widow, a red spider monster, perched above them on a tree. "What's happening?" she asked. But before Yiwu could answer, the Red Widow spat more liquid at them. Yiwu acted swiftly, pushing her aside and shouting, "Dodge." In their attempt to avoid the threat, they found themselves ensnared in a massive web set by the Red Widow. Not long after they were ensnared, the spider's web tightened around them, leaving no room even for their hands to move. In the midst of this predicament, panic surged through Ruan Tian, fearing that the monstrous spider would consume them. In a desperate attempt to free herself, she wriggled and thrashed. But every movement only caused the web to bind them more tightly. Yet, to their astonishment, the spider monster suddenly retreated, abandoning them and its web. Relief washed over Ruentian. Did the monster really leave? For a moment, she dared to hope that they might have been spared from the looming danger. Yiwu, drawing upon his knowledge of the monstrous spider's habits, realized that it typically laid its eggs inside its captured prey, ensuring a next generation. He suspected that the creature would likely return after satiating its hunger. This discovery sent ripples of fear through Ruentian, causing her to squirm in horror at the thought of becoming a host to such ghastly offspring. As she writhed, their already close confinement became even more uncomfortable, their bodies pressed tightly against each other. Although Yiwu had the ability to ignite the web as he had previously done, he hesitated. The close proximity of their tangled bodies made any hasty use of fire perilous, potentially putting her in harm's way. With their hands ensnared, Yiwu instinctively turned to his teeth, trying to cut through the spider's web. Misreading his intent, Ruentian's imagination ran wild, painting a picture far from reality. Recognizing her anxiety, Yiwu said, "Calm your thoughts and stay still, it's our best chance to escape." Luckily for them, the web hadn't fully hardened and was non-toxic. As Yiwu began making progress, Ruentian, despite the oddity of the situation, pitched in, biting the web alongside him. Their combined effort, while awkward, proved effective. Together, they successfully escaped and eventually stood once more on firm ground. Ruentian's tears of relief welled up, feeling safe for a moment. But Yiwu, sensing the danger, whispered urgently, "We need to move now." Their brief relief was interrupted by distant monster roars and the erratic flight of nearby birds, signaling the imminent approach of the spider monster. Yiwu motioned for Ruentian to retreat. "Find your team," he said firmly. "I'll handle the monster." Desperate, Ruentian clutched at Yiwu's shirt as he began to walk away. "You're only at level 3. While that monster is level 8, she protested, urging him to flee with her. Ignoring her concerns, Yiwu gave a sly grin and declared, "I'm not here as the prey being chased, but as the hunter." Flames began to dance around his hand, a manifestation of his fiery powers, as he readied to face the monster. Red Widow had swiftly returned to its lair to check on its prey, manifesting with overwhelming power and creating a palpable pressure around it. The monster positioned itself in front of its prey, attempting to prevent any escape. Amidst this pressure, Yiwu had been poised and ready. With his focus squarely on the menacing Red Widow, Yiwu signaled to Ruentian, urging her to maintain her distance and not to interfere. He gave her a choice, to flee or to stay. Ruentian decided to stay. Given her expertise as a therapist, she voiced her desire to witness the confrontation and offered to treat him if necessary. With no one to interfere with the fight, Yiwu approached the Red Widow, the monster, breaking through its intimidating aura. Then Yiwu activated his Emperor Kaiyan account to level up and draw his flaming sword, his rage against the spider type that had injured his family now fueling his strike against the Red Widow. Without responding to Yiwu's words, the creature swiftly launched an attack towards him. With swift agility, he dodged the oncoming assault, propelling himself into the air. Suspended above, he firmly held his flaming sword with both hands, ready to strike down the creature. A part of him felt relieved that, unlike higher-leveled monsters like the ghost-eye demon spider of level 15 that could speak, this monster was silent, sparing him from hearing any potential pleas for mercy. With a swift, decisive motion, Yiwu channeled a surge of fiery energy into a vertical slash. His blade's power was so overwhelming that it sliced the Red Widow cleanly in half, causing its immediate downfall. This devastating force radiated outwards, creating shockwaves that devastated the nearby forest for meters on end. The landscape bore the marks of his ferocious attack, with echoes of his burning energy still hovering in the air, showcasing the magnitude of his might. Ruentian, witnessing the end of this fierce battle, was rendered speechless. The realization that Yiwu had effortlessly taken down an elite level 8 creature made her question if he was hiding his true level. Upon the monster's defeat, Yiwu received a reward of 1,000 points, and to her surprise, Ruentian was credited with 500 points. Beyond this, Yiwu also secured an additional 5,000 experience points. Ruentian's joy was tinged with confusion. She struggled to understand how she had earned points without directly contributing to the battle. This event sparked a deep curiosity in her, leading her to persistently probe Yiwu about the nature of his abilities and remain constantly by his side. Yet, Yiwu remained guarded, not disclosing any secrets about the mechanisms behind his unique system. Shifting his focus, Yiwu began gathering the loot left behind by the vanquished creature. While doing so, he advised Ruintian to withhold any remarks, pointing out that she too had received points from the encounter. Taking in his words, she simply nodded, signaling her agreement without voicing any objections. Amidst the loot, an item captured Yiwu's attention. Upon closer examination, it was identified as the Red Widow's Fang, an item that would undoubtedly be quickly sold in the black market. As Yiwu grasped the item, it began to radiate a golden light, and almost instantly, a message appeared, revealing its transformation into the Red Widow's deadly fang, now infused with effects of bleeding, poisoning, and weakness. Confusion clouded Yiwu's thoughts. How could an item spontaneously upgrade like this? A moment of clarity came when he remembered a ring he'd obtained after defeating the Ghost Eye Demon Spider. A quick inspection confirmed it as the Ring of Luck, which had the unique ability to elevate the level of items in its vicinity randomly. The realization that he owned such an invaluable item elevated his mood, though the specifics of its activation remained a mystery to him. Suddenly, a voice from behind caught their attention. Why is Ruintian still alive? Why wasn't she consumed by the Red Widow? The voice asked. They both turned around, seeking the source of the voice. Standing there was Team Liyang, a name that stirred memories for Ruintian. They had been her allies when she first ventured into the dungeon. Ruintian was infuriated upon seeing their faces again, remembering how they'd used her to attract the Red Widow while they cowardly fled. During their exchange, a man with green hair standing next to Liyang noticed something amiss with the Red Widow. It looked dead. Approaching the creature, he gestured for Liyang to take a closer look. See, it's been burned and roasted, he exclaimed, leaving Liyang stunned by the revelation. He then turned to Ruintian and skeptically asked, "Don't tell me you did this." Without hesitation, she proudly responded, "Of course it was me." She elaborated that she had defeated the Red Widow after joining forces with a great god. She attempted to clasp Yiwu's hand in a show of unity, but he deftly raised his hand, avoiding her gesture. This admission only served as fodder for their amusement. They laughed, not believing that someone considered the Academy's most notorious trash could achieve such a feat. They mockingly said that Yiwu and Ruintian were a perfect match, the fool and the waste. The insulting remarks directed at him hurt Ruintian deeply. She couldn't stand anyone belittling him. Liyang knelt down, scrutinizing the fiery creature before him. It was the Red Widow, valued at 1,000 points. Even with its hefty reward, he knew there were other ways to score those points. More crucially, he was sure it was Ruintian, not Yiwu, who had vanquished it. Moved by Ruintian's skill, Liyang sent a team invite her way. A ding echoed soon after, with Liyang's invite popping up on her screen. Liyang hinted to Ruintian about her value to the team. In return, Ruintian responded sharply, "Do you really think I'd fall for your talk again?" A familiar voice from her past team also weighed in, urging her to come back, even if only to serve as cannon fodder. They stated plainly that this might be where she could be most useful, and warned that following Yiwu was a path to nowhere. Such comments only ignited her anger. With sharpness in her voice, she snapped, "Enough. Don't you dare disrespect the great god again." Suddenly, a monstrous roar echoed, ramping up the tension in the vicinity. In a panic, Ruintian leaped to the side, finding herself clinging to Yiwu's hand, exclaiming, "Aw, what was that sound?" Not only her, but Liyang and the rest were also taken aback, swiftly turning their attention to the source of the roar. Liyang and his teammates looked in the direction of the roar, their expressions a mix of excitement and shock. Their eyes widened, recognizing the horrifying source of the sound, the Devil Tyrannosaurus, an elite creature so rare and valuable, offering a reward of 5,000 points. They were stunned to realize how close this monster was to their position. Liyang exclaimed, "This is a rare opportunity. It's even more valuable than the Red Widow." Upon discovering Liyang and his team's intention to hunt the Devil Tyrannosaurus, Yiwu's face took on a grave expression. He exclaimed with urgency, "Hold on a moment. Do you truly intend to challenge the Devil Tyrannosaurus? You're essentially courting death." Liyang was provoked by Yiwu's words. "What did you just say?" he asked, turning around to give Yiwu a piercing look. Yiwu just smirked, tauntingly. "I'm merely saying, with your current strength, you're nothing more than a snack for that monster. I hope you don't plan on gifting it your head on a silver platter." Feeling belittled, Liyang was on the verge of retaliating. However, one of his teammates quickly pulled him back, advising, "Don't get baited by his words. We need to focus on the Devil Tyrannosaurus. Don't let such taunts distract us." Holding back his anger, Liyang decided to continue their mission. As they moved towards the monster's sound source, Liyang looked back, "Remember, Yiwu. We're not done yet." Meanwhile, Ruintian praised the intelligence of Liyang's teammate who managed to calm their team leader down. With a serious expression, she said, "Don't come back crying, begging the great god to save you." Ruintian, with sparkling eyes, changed her tone and lightened the mood. She looked at Yiwu and suggested, "How about we hunt the mobs around here to collect points?" Hearing the proposal, he quickly and firmly declined. "Gathering points from mobs, not efficient," he replied. As they continued their journey deeper into the dungeon, he elaborated, "Mobs are scattered all over this dungeon. Merely hunting them won't be enough to take us to the top." Trying to keep pace with him, she curiously asked, "Then, what do you plan to do?" With a dramatic pause, he stopped for a moment, turning to face her. "My plan is riskier. We'll follow them to the Devil Tyrannosaurus, hide, and wait for the perfect moment to seize the opportunity." As their conversation unfolded, the thunderous roar of the Devil Tyrannosaurus grew closer. Not long after, from the opposite direction, a giant eagle emerged in a pitiful state with its wing torn, trying to run with whatever strength it had left. However, despite the eagle's desperate attempt to flee, it was no match for the ferocity of the Devil Tyrannosaurus and ultimately ended up in its jaws. The monster then proclaimed its triumph with a roar that echoed throughout the area, signifying its dominance over the region. From a safe distance, Li Yong and his teammates hid behind the bushes, their eyes fixed on the Devil Tyrannosaurus standing majestically in the middle of the plain. One of his teammates whispered, "That Tyrannosaurus just fought with another monster." Li Yong added, "It seems like the monster has already lost 15% of its health points. This might be our lucky day." After a brief pause, the same teammate, still showing signs of anxiety, voiced his concerns. "Despite that advantage, the aura this creature emits is suffocating. I suggest we reconsider chasing it." Hearing this, Li Yong was unwavering in his conviction. He believed that, with the combined strength of 4 level 5 warriors, they could defeat the level 8 elite monster. But this wasn't just a matter of pride. The monster was known to hold a rare treasure, and surrender was the farthest thing from his mind. "You expect me to give up?" His voice echoed with determination. Gathering his teammates, he clenched his fist, a symbol of unity and resolve. "Hear me, warriors," he boomed. "Fear is not in our vocabulary today. With our collective strength and with me as your anchor, we shall prevail. The points from this monster alone can secure us a spot in the top 10. Lost in his aspirations for a moment, Li Yong imagined the glory that awaited them. He envisioned himself majestically seated on a throne, Ruintian gracefully by his side, while Yiwu offered a gesture of deep respect. The very thought intensified his drive to bring down the Devil Tyrannosaurus. With renewed determination, he commanded, "Forward, brave ones. Engage the Devil Tyrannosaurus. Let today be a testament to our strength and unity." However, as they closed the distance to the monster, a teammate of his hesitated. A troubling awareness dawned upon him. Quickly approaching Li Yong, he urgently warned, "Something's amiss with this monster." Following one of his teammates' gaze, Li Yong inquired, "What's troubling you?" He responded, "I recall the Devil Tyrannosaurus being a blend of black and green. Why is it draped in red now?" "It's a sign, it's enraged." The revelation sent a chill down Li Yong's spine. "And you chose this moment to enlighten us." Without wasting a second, he shouted, "Fall back. Retreat. We mustn't engage it in this state." In the blink of an eye, the monster's tail sliced through the air. His teammates were struck hard by it. Showcasing his agility, Li Yong managed to evade by leaping into the air. Simultaneously, another teammate, acting on quick instinct, dropped to the ground, covering his head protectively. However, his fleeting moment of safety was short-lived. His face turned pale, and he screamed for help, eyes filled with terror as he caught the monster's menacing gaze. Before he could react further, the creature unleashed a torrent of blazing flames, consuming and burning him alive on the spot. With the ash and smoke from the fiery aftermath still lingering in the air, Li Yong realized he was the only one left standing. As the gravity of facing this rare elite monster set in, fear coursed through his veins, making his body tremble uncontrollably. Under the monster's menacing gaze, Li Yong sprinted, knowing speed was his only way out. In the midst of his panic, he remembered Yiwu and Ruintian were nearby. Perhaps he could divert the monster's focus towards them, granting him a brief chance to escape. Driven by strong determination, Li Yong soon spotted Yiwu and Ruintian just a few steps ahead of him. They appeared so relaxed and seemingly unfazed by the chilling atmosphere of the dungeon. A mix of relief and frustration swept over Li Yong, especially when witnessing the stark contrast between their composure and his own breathlessness. However, as they became aware of his presence and turned to face him, Ruintian looked sharply at Li Yong, exclaiming, "Li Yong, you guys are really a wolf and escaped prematurely. What are you thinking now?" With a sly smile, Li Yong replied, "Don't put it so mercilessly. This time, I didn't come empty-handed." Ruintian, puzzled, shot back, "Huh? What are you trying to say?" Then, Li Yong accelerated his pace, approaching them, and declared, "What I mean is, I've brought a special gift for both of you." Yu Wu kept a sharp gaze on Li Yong's every move. Feeling Li Yong's unusual speed, he clenched his fists, preparing for a potential confrontation. "You don't need to be polite. Your points have always been the best gifts," he stated, challenging Li Yong. Inside, Yu Wu felt there was something off about Li Yong's movement. Where was the rest of Li Yong's team? Was he here for something bigger? Suddenly, Li Yong was behind Ruan Tian. "I'll talk about that later," he whispered as he forcefully shoved her from behind, telling her to go and see the special gift he'd brought for her. The sudden push caused Ruan Tian to fall forward, hitting the ground. She cried out in pain. With teary, accusing eyes, she looked back at him. "What are you trying to do? Why push me so suddenly?" Suddenly, Ruan Tian felt a menacing aura approaching from behind. She quickly turned around to see a devil tyrannosaurus charging towards her with its massive jaws wide open, showcasing sharp teeth and emitting a terrifying roar. Ruan Tian's heart raced as she faced the menacing monster. Without a second thought, she cried out, "Stay back," and launched an attack, hoping to fend off the creature. Yu Wu, watching from a distance, couldn't help but think Ruan Tian was acting impulsively. She seemed unaware that the monster hadn't shown any real interest in her until that moment. Yet, her hasty attack, which merely reduced the monster's health points by a single point, seemed to irritate it. As the monster bore its teeth and shifted its focus towards her, Ruan Tian quickly realized her mistake. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean it," she exclaimed in panic, turning to flee. As she ran, she called out desperately to Yu Wu for help. From a distance, Li Yong watched the entire scene unfold with a satisfied expression. Ruan Tian's reaction was precisely as he had anticipated. Turning to Yu Wu with a mocking tone, he asked, "Being teamed up with such a fool, what would you do?" Li Yong grinned widely. The excitement he felt was beyond words. After his strategy successfully played out, Li Yong wore a malicious smirk and activated his stealth ability. His figure slowly disappeared, as though merging with the environment. In a mocking tone, he told Yu Wu, "I'll stand aside and watch you deal with the monster. But once it's finished with you, I might come back solely to pick up your remains." Now, Li Yong had entirely vanished, blending seamlessly with nature. All that remained was his lingering laughter, echoing eerily before fading away completely. Silently, Yu Wu lifted his left hand, grasping the air as if clutching something tangible. "Did I allow you to go?" he calmly inquired. From the void, Li Yong's muffled voice emerged, still in stealth mode. "What?" Slowly, the stealth mode began to fail, revealing Li Yong, his neck firmly held by Yu Wu's grip. Panic evident in his eyes, Li Yong stammered, What's going on? I was completely invisible. How can you still see me?" Yu Wu responded with a composed demeanor. "You might have become invisible, but you haven't truly disappeared. In my eyes, you appear as a mere moving heat signature." Li Yong, still in disbelief, questioned Yu Wu further. What? You mean you can sense me through the heat? How is this possible?" As he spoke, he tried to pry Yu Wu's hand from his neck, attempting to break free from the firm grasp. Unable to free himself, Li Yong grew increasingly desperate. "Let go of me," he pleaded. "Don't you realize I'm the son of your uncle? And besides," he added urgently, "the devil Tyrannosaurus has become even more ferocious. If this continues, we'll all be doomed." Yu Wu replied with a sardonic smile, "Is that so?" He then released his grip on Li Yong and proceeded to demonstrate his power. With a forceful stomp on the ground, the earth around him cracked open, spewing forth flames from its depths. These flames surged towards the monster, forming a fiery barrier that trapped and immobilized it like a wall of flames. Witnessing the sheer force exerted by Yu Wu, Li Yong's eyes widened in shock. "You, a mere waste that can't even be upgraded. How can you possess such strength?" He spoke with a strained voice, punctuated by coughs, still feeling the after effects of Yu Wu's grip on his neck and the brief struggle for breath. Following that, without a hint of shame, Li Yong proposed, "Why don't we join forces to defeat the devil Tyrannosaurus? I only need a share of the points and equipment items." Yu Wu responded with a flat expression, "Together. Your audacity is a bit beyond my expectations." Rather than outrightly refusing the offer, Yu Wu posed a condition. "You'll have to ask the woman in my arms first," he said, indicating Ruan Tian. "It's her decision whether to accept or not." Li Yong, with his pride shattered due to the points, knelt down and pleaded, "Sister Ruan, as a classmate and the one who brought you to this dungeon, please reconsider." Ruan Tian firmly refused, her voice filled with disdain. "We're leaving, Yu Wu. Someone like Li Yong, such a despicable kid, doesn't deserve our trust or forgiveness." As the two prepared to depart, Li Yong continued to prostrate himself on the ground behind them, his voice choked with desperation. "Sister Ruan, please, I beg for mercy. I regret my actions. Please, just give me another chance. After Ruan Tian's refusal and as the pair readied to leave, the distant roar of the monster reached their ears. The devil Tyrannosaurus was not one to be easily trapped. It unleashed a sound wave powerful enough to shatter the wall of flames that Yiwu had conjured. Ruan Tian's eyes widened in horror. It's out of control, she exclaimed, turning to Yiwu. What do we do now? Deep in thought, Yiwu realized he had underestimated the creature's abilities. He never imagined the fire barrier would be so easily broken by a mere sound wave. When Yiwu was focused on the monster, Li Yang saw this as his moment. Previously, he had humbled himself by kneeling down before Yiwu. But now, he held a poisoned dagger in his right hand, grinning maliciously, ready to strike swiftly. Next, Li Yang rose to his feet, sprinting towards Yiwu with the intent to stab him from behind. He raised his poisoned dagger, ready with a deadly strike. In his heart, he thought, this is the moment, die now. However, as Li Yang tried to strike with his dagger, his effort was halted just before it reached Yiwu. There was a barrier preventing the dagger from touching his skin. The sound of the dagger scraping against something hard was clear. It turned out that what was protecting Yiwu's back was the flaming sword, a weapon with a wide surface. Even though he had anticipated an attack from Li Yang, Yiwu's speed in positioning his sword behind him took Li Yang by surprise. With a gaze full of fury, Yiwu turned to Li Yang. How dare you attack at a time like this? He said sharply. It seems you're working hard to make me end your life sooner. Without giving Li Yang a chance to react, Yiwu swiftly turned and stabbed him with his flaming sword. The fiery sword pierced deep into Li Yang's abdomen, allowing Yiwu to lift him into the air. In this vulnerable position, Yiwu taunted, it seems you truly have become useless. Li Yang's health points decreased rapidly, leaving only 1%, and he soon perished, exiting the competition sooner than anticipated. For this victory, Yiwu received all of Li Yang's points as a reward, which amounted to a total of 5,000 points, comprising both Li Yang's personal and team points. After Li Yang's death inside the dungeon, the PvP dungeon protection mechanism was immediately triggered, and a copy of Li Yang's character was promptly ejected from the dungeon. Despite feeling unbearable pain and clutching his wounded abdomen, he stared at Yiwu with eyes full of rage. With a voice filled with determination and hatred, he said, I won't let you go easily. This won't end like this. Shortly after, a notification appeared on Yiwu's system interface, informing him that he had obtained drop items from defeating Li Yang, a skill book titled Invincible, and a poison dagger. Carefully inspecting the system interface, Yiwu examined the detailed information of the two drop items. A skill book named Stealth with the ability Invincible, and a poison dagger, a weapon capable of delivering a fatal blow to its victim. For a player at level 5, the equipment Li Yang had was truly exceptional. However, the threat to Yiwu seemed not to have ended. The devil Tyrannosaurus, after breaking through the wall of flames, was now sprinting at full speed towards him. Ruan Tian, witnessing this, shouted a warning, Yiwu, be careful. The devil Tyrannosaurus is approaching. Yiwu turned around upon hearing her shout and was surprised at how swiftly the monster was closing in. He then took the initiative to strike first, slashing horizontally at the monster's head with his flaming sword. However, its skin was incredibly tough. In his mind, Yiwu thought, this devilsaur has a fire attribute and a fiery temper to match. Once it's enraged, its attributes will multiply several times over. This is going to be exceptionally challenging to deal with. The attack launched by Yiwu failed to harm the monster, and in retaliation, the creature struck back with immense force and momentum. This caused Yiwu to be thrown backward. Fortunately, Yiwu used his flaming sword to block the direct onslaught. While still in midair, Yiwu didn't remain passive. He activated one of his skills, and numerous fire stars began to form around him, glowing brightly. From within these stars emerged several fire entities shaped like dragons. Every time one of these fire-formed dragons hit a target, it would result in an explosion, truly representing its skill name, Explosive Fire Dragon Bomb. The monster was continually bombarded by these fiery explosions, causing its health points to decrease by a few percentages. With each of his attacks, Yiwu was careful not to use excessive power. He knew that if the enraged monster was killed with too much force, it wouldn't drop any equipment or items. To him, this mechanism seemed rather unfair. Propelled by the momentum of the monster's assault, Yiwu crashed into a tree, creating an indentation on its trunk, partially burning from contact with his body. With determination, he declared, courage is what keeps me standing here. Even though the monster is enraged, I know how to extract points and items from it. With the fire energy enveloping him and the strong momentum pushing him forward, Yiwu sprinted towards Ruan Tian. He knew that Ruan Tian, positioned behind the monster, was key to executing his plan. Drawing near to the monster with great strength and momentum, he attacked its body. Shortly after, he approached Ruintian and urgently asked her to listen to his instructions, preparing to comfort the monster. Ruintian responded with a confused comfort. Suddenly, Yiwu sensed imminent danger. He swiftly turned his gaze to the side, only to find flames just inches away from him. The monster exhaled a torrent of flames towards him. With impeccable reflexes, Yiwu summoned his shield and took cover behind it. From his protected position, Yiwu shouted to Ruintian, sensing her confusion, "Get ready now, use the special therapist's skill, a method that can dispel a violent state." Quickly hiding behind a nearby tree, Ruintian pointed to herself in response. "Even though I can calm its rage," she explained to Yiwu, "there's a significant level gap between me and that monster. I don't think it'll work. Moreover, I can only use the skill once in a short period." After the monster's breath of fire subsided, Yiwu leaped into the air, vaulting over the creature's head. In that moment, he shouted to her, "I didn't say to use it right now. Just follow my next command." Now hovering several meters above the monster, Yiwu prepared his right foot to descend with full force. He targeted the monster's head as his landing point. As he descended and gravity intensified his assault, he exclaimed, "To maximize our chances, I'll first reduce its health points to below 20%. With that, his foot struck the monster's head with immense power. The impact of his fierce strike took a considerable percentage off the monster's health points, leaving it with approximately 50% remaining. Meanwhile, Ruintian stood still, utterly stunned. Is Yiwu really this powerful? She thought to herself. He can suppress this insane monster with mere hand-to-hand combat. His strength is on par with professional team members from major groups. The battle raged on. Enraged by the powerful strike to its head, the monster retaliated. It swung its massive tail in a wide arc, aiming for a devastating blow against Yiwu. Yet, Yiwu remained unflinching. In his mind, he mused, "For someone like me, taking down an 8th-level violent elite is a piece of cake." Reacting with lightning speed, Yiwu channeled the energy from his flames to create a barrier in his hand. With this, he successfully stopped the monster's forceful tail swing. His reason for fighting with such restrained strength was to avoid accidentally killing the creature, for if he did, he'd gain nothing from it. Yet, he was well aware that this method of combat was painful. By successfully stopping the monster's tail swing, Yiwu found the perfect opportunity to tightly grasp the tail, ensuring the monster couldn't easily break free. His face lit up with greed, recognizing that the creature before him was a rare elite filled with treasures. With a firm grip on the monster's tail, Yiwu lifted the massive creature off the ground. He then swung it down with force, crashing it into the earth. The impact reduced the monster's health points to less than 20%. Immediately, Yiwu shouted at Ruintian, "Quickly, now's the time. Use your special therapist's skill." Ruintian responded swiftly, "Yes, yes." Ruintian swiftly drew out her staff, twirling it as she chanted, "Beauty, the combination of beauty and wisdom." With graceful moves, she began to dance, her voice rising in a chant, the incarnation of love and magic. Every step and movement seemed in perfect harmony with her words. As she reached the climax of her performance, with a hand gesture and an expression as if blowing love from her lips, she recited her final spell, "In the name of love, I heal you." Suddenly, a pink energy shaped like a heart emanated from Ruintian's staff, enveloping the massive monster in a radiant glow of love. In response to the magic's effect, the monster let out a thunderous roar. Watching the monster's reaction, Yiwu asked with concern, "Are you sure you used the right skill? It looks like the monster is in pain." Ruintian confidently replied, "There shouldn't be any mistake." Indeed, Ruintian's spell worked in an unexpected way. The once fierce and intimidating monster transformed into a miniature version of its original self, looking cute and utterly bewildered by its sudden transformation. Following the transformation, they walked towards the monster, now rendered harmless. Ruintian was visibly astonished at the unforeseen outcome of her calming spell. Simultaneously, Yiwu, with a clear intent in his eyes, prepared to strike down the creature. He planned to quickly claim its points and then immediately leave the scene. As Yiwu advanced towards the creature, intent on delivering the finishing blow, Ruintian, driven by emotion, sprinted ahead of him. She threw herself in front of the monster, shielding it with her body. "Just give it a few more moments, please," she pleaded. Feeling the sincerity of her plea in the proximity of its end, tears formed in the monster's eyes, displaying a depth of emotion akin to a human's. Ruintian then turned to the great god, her voice filled with urgency, "Look at it. Can't you see its innocence and charm?" Her eyes shimmered with hope. "This is a rare elite. Imagine having such a unique being by our side. It would be marvelous to keep it as a pet." Hearing the proposal, Yiwu displayed a villainous smirk. "That seems like a good proposal," he said with a cunning tone. "Then, I'll just have to deal with the loss by killing you first, claim your points, and collect this rare elite as a pet. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. It's perfect. How do you feel about that?" Ruin Tian appeared conflicted, weighing her options on how to handle Yi Wu's menacing ultimatum, especially with the fate of the endearing creature at stake. After careful consideration, Ruin Tian felt that the points and equipment were more valuable. Hesitantly, she handed over the adorable monster to Yi Wu. The creature's reaction was one of shock, seeing Ruin Tian's swift change of heart and feeling abandoned. After being abandoned by Ruin Tian, the monster could now only rely on itself to escape death. As a last resort, it tried to leverage its cute appearance, gazing at Yi Wu with its innocent face, sacrificing its pride as a level 8 rare elite. But Yi Wu remained unmoved. With his flaming sword poised over the creature, he remarked, "You should be well aware of the world's survival rule. The strong prey on the weak." The creature shuddered, its eyes filled with tears. And with that, Yi Wu delivered the final blow. Both humans and monsters are alike. They don't want to be preyed upon by others. Their only choice is to continue growing stronger, Yi Wu solemnly declared. At that moment, Ruin Tian mourned the loss of the adorable monster. Meanwhile, a notification appeared. Player Yi Wu has killed the elite devil Tyrannosaurus and has been awarded 5,000 points. Player Ruin Tian assisted in the kill and received 25 points. After receiving the notification, Ruin Tian's demeanor changed in an instant. Her earlier sorrow turned into joy upon securing 25 points, and she felt immense gratitude towards the devil Tyrannosaurus for providing her with such a bounty. Soon after, a system notification appeared. From the kill of the rare elite, Yi Wu gained 50,000 experience points, with an additional 75,000 experience points available for allocation. "Would you like to allocate now?" He was taken by surprise. The experience points from the level 8 rare elite monster surpassed those from the level 18 Ghost Eye Demon Spider. The only plausible reasoning was that the dungeon mode must have granted bonus experience points. He then closed his eyes and commanded to enter the account system space. Inside the account system space, the system detected a significant surplus in his experience points. It presented him with choices. He could increase the link level of the Qian Emperor account to level 20 or unlock another account. Moreover, he had the option to unlock more skills from the Qian Emperor account, enhancing its overall capabilities. After considering his options, Yi Wu clasped his hands together and pondered carefully about the step he would take. Increasing the link level to 20 would allow him to unlock another account, which could potentially surprise him. However, blindly unlocking accounts now would be unwise. He also needed to maintain the depth of the Qian Emperor account. After all, no matter how powerful an attack, when faced with an unbeatable opponent, victory often comes with the help of a wealth of special skills. Having made up his mind, he asked the system to display the special skills panel. With a link level of 12, 3 special skills were unlocked from the Qian Emperor account. Camouflage. This skill grants the ability to eliminate one's presence from creatures with a higher level than its own. It's priced at 50,000 experience points. Speed of Frenzy. It allows the user to release a burst of energy, enhancing speed by 50%. It's available for 30,000 experience points. True Eye. This skill, when activated, releases the True Eye, enabling the user to detect all creatures within a certain range. It's priced at a hefty 70,000 experience points. After examining the capabilities of each skill, one particularly caught his eye. True Eye, also referred to as Eye of Reality, seemed almost otherworldly in its power. It would be incredibly useful for seeking out the hidden final boss and was worth the 70,000 experience point price tag. Finally, Yi Wu made up his mind and purchased the skill, successfully unlocking the True Eye, at the expense of 70,000 experience points. With this skill in hand, Yi Wu felt a newfound confidence. He believed he could now pinpoint the hiding place of the Shadow Dryad, even if it concealed itself deep within the forests. With such an advantage, he might be the first to defeat the elusive Shadow Dryad. Before he could contemplate further, Ruin Tian touched his shoulder, pointing ahead, trying to show him something. They approached the indicated spot and found a drop item, an egg emitting a radiant light towards the sky. The egg bore peculiar patterns on its shell. Even the system notification was clueless about the type of egg it was, only indicating that it could be hatched using experience points or used for fried rice egg. Ruin Tian approached the egg with peculiar patterns, her body leaning down as she carefully examined it. She believed that this egg could be cultivated into battle pets, enhancing their combat effectiveness. As she envisioned how cool and dominating it would be when the great god rode the devil Tyrannosaurus with a flaming sword in hand, Yi Wu thought it sounded great, and eventually decided to take the egg. I can finally make a difference, Ruan Tian said, her eyes shining brightly as she looked at Yiwu. Thank you for sticking with me and for choosing to take this egg. Misinterpreting Ruan Tian's intention, Yiwu thought she wanted the egg for culinary purposes and quickly responded, "This egg isn't for you." Ruan Tian blushed. "You misunderstood." She dashed after Yiwu, insisting, "I don't want your egg. Wait for me and let me explain." Meanwhile, in a corner of the academy, an advanced dungeon monitoring system observed every move of the players within the dungeon competition. Each maneuver, strategy, and decision was under its strict surveillance. Miss Mo, with eyes sharp and focused, was particularly captivated by Yiwu's actions. He had recently triumphed over the devil Tyrannosaurus, and even though his level was only 3, his performance hinted at a depth of strength not evident in his level. A contemplative expression crossed Miss Mo's face. "My intuition was right," she murmured. "This young man is hiding something. The level he displays masks the immense power he possesses." Pausing for a moment, she then directed her attention to her nearby guard. "Summon Principal Yan for me," she instructed with a voice that was soft yet authoritative. Recognizing the gravity of her request, the guard promptly replied, "Right away, miss." Miss Mo temporarily switched off the dungeon monitoring system. She pondered, lamenting that the system was only able to track low-level copies, unable to monitor higher levels or advanced dungeons. Shortly after, Principal Yan entered the room, accompanied by the guard. Bowing slightly, he inquired, "Is there a problem? Why did you call me?" Cutting to the chase, Miss Mo inquired, "What is Yiwu's rank score in the dungeon?" Looking perplexed, Principal Yan responded, "Yiwu, the student who can't be upgraded." He seemed hesitant. "As far as I recall, there's only one student by that name." Upon hearing that Yiwu couldn't be upgraded, Miss Mo appeared shocked. With a grave tone, she asked Principal Yan to elaborate further. Clearing his throat, Principal Yan began to explain. Yiwu is an unusual case. When he first joined the academy, he was already at level 3 and was considered a prodigy. However, after 3 years, his level remained unchanged. I'm honestly puzzled about his situation. Miss Mo's face betrayed her deep surprise. In her mind, she thought, level 3. You disguised well. What's your purpose in the end? Her curiosity about Yiwu grew stronger. After Miss Mo's contemplative silence, Principal Yan's eyes landed on the point table. His face drained of color upon seeing what was displayed before him. Yiwu is ranked 3rd. How did he manage that? He uttered in disbelief, struggling to grasp the notion that Yiwu, a mere level 3, had achieved such a feat. Miss Mo, seizing the moment, instructed Principal Yan to announce the dungeon rankings immediately and to make everyone's positions public. The idea shocked Principal Yan. Are you planning to increase the difficulty of the dungeon again? The selection of the Shadow Forest at level 10 is already quite cruel. Besides, if all positions are made public, students will engage in internal conflicts. Especially Yiwu. Being a level 3 and ranked 3rd, he'll be everyone's target. Miss Mo replied with measured composure, the outside world is far crueler than this level 10 dungeon. If our Hanmo group chooses, we must choose the best talents. She continued, Yiwu is more complex than you perceive him to be. With Miss Mo being the primary sponsor for this year's dungeon competition, Principal Yan found himself compelled to follow her instructions. As he initiated the changes, he mused over Miss Mo's evident fascination with Yiwu, pondering, is there something truly special about him? In the Shadow Forest dungeon, Chen Feng was found gravely injured. His decision to not join any team had led to these injuries. He held a belief that defeating players solely for points was dishonorable. Luo Feng's team inflicted the injuries on Chen Feng. After the attack, Luo Feng approached and faced Chen Feng directly, asserting he was just abiding by the game's rules. Seeing Chen Feng in a vulnerable state, Luo Feng stomped on him forcefully. This caused Chen Feng to bleed from the mouth and die instantly, allowing Luo Feng to secure 2,000 of his points. Afterwards, Zhang Yi commended Luo Feng, attributing their team's rapid point accumulation to Luo Feng's leadership. However, Luo Feng felt bored defeating such trash players, deriving no pleasure from it. He would not have acted as he did if not for the points. Not long after, all players in the dungeon received a system notification. Information about score rankings and player locations was announced. As boredom began to envelop Luo Feng, this news was a breath of fresh air, reigniting his enthusiasm. This news was exactly what Luo Feng had hoped for. For him, it was the opportunity he had been waiting for to seize points from other players in a way he deemed fair. It seemed the academy wanted to make the competition even fiercer. Upon checking the point rankings, Luo Feng was shocked. To his surprise, Yiwu, whom he had previously dismissed as a mere level 3 nobody, was not only still in the game but also ranked 3rd with 10,000 points. Luo Feng believed that Yiwu had earned his points through sheer luck, but he was confident that luck would run out once they met. After uncovering this intriguing information, Luo Feng quickly directed his team and allies to hunt down other teams, using the locations displayed on the system panel. Relying on the player location map, Luo Feng began instructing his team to target Yiwu, whom he considered to be a mere waste. In another scene, a panicked figure dashed across the forest, each breath a testament to his exhaustion. It was none other than Zhu Tian, the leader of a rival team. His face clearly revealing sheer terror, he ran, frequently glancing over his shoulder. He had never anticipated finding himself in such a dangerous predicament, especially after his team had so boldly targeted Yiwu for points. He quickly evaded a burst of fire, his dodge showing his desperation. To him, his attacker seemed like an unstoppable demon. Consumed by fear, Zhu Tian recognized the irony of his predicament. Once the hunter, his team was now the hunted. He couldn't fathom, how could someone dismissed as a level 3 nobody wield such astonishing power? In a flash, his chances of escape diminished as flames from Yiwu blocked his path. The sound of approaching footsteps grew louder, followed by a mocking voice. "What are you running from?" Unaware, Zhu Tian had Yiwu and Ruan Tian right behind him. They strolled through the fire barrier unaffected, their eyes intense. Yiwu, flames dancing on his hand, said menacingly, "I don't consume people. Besides, aren't you after my accumulation?" Hearing this, Zhu Tian turned pale, sweat pouring down his face abundantly. With a challenging demeanor, Yiwu continued, "I'm here waiting for you to kill me. Come on." Yiwu's words only infuriated Zhu Tian even more, as all his teammates had been killed by him. In his despair and frustration, he lunged at Yiwu, throwing a punch, and shouted, "I'll kill you." However, Yiwu effortlessly caught his attack. Calmly, he told Zhu Tian, "Whether you're a saint or a demon, or even justice incarnate, it's irrelevant. In a game of points, all is fair." Finally, Yiwu simply snapped his fingers, setting Zhu Tian ablaze. Zhu Tian's health points decreased rapidly. Before meeting his end, Yiwu left him with a message, "Next time, bring more people when you challenge me." Defeating Zhu Tian earned Yiwu 6,500 points and a primary recovery agent. According to the usual dungeon mechanisms, when a player dies within it, automatic systems such as PvP protection are activated, forcing Zhu Tian to be teleported out. Yiwu, deep in thought, recognized the change in the rules and mechanisms of the dungeon, such as revealing score rankings and player locations, as the distinct style of the young lady. She was pushing him towards more brutal confrontations. However, ultimately, this worked in Yiwu's favor as he merely had to wait for points to come to him. A notification suddenly popped up, exclaiming, "Congratulations! Team Yiwu has ascended to first place with a score of 22,500 points." Ruan Tian's eyes lit up with joy when she heard the news. She hugged Yiwu in excitement and exclaimed with thrill, "We're in first place, Yiwu, first place. Can you believe it?" However, Yiwu responded with measured calmness, "Okay, got it." His eyes, steady and serious, betrayed no hint of celebration. But this is not the time to revel and lower our guard. After that, Yiwu checked the remaining players' information. Currently, only 3 teams with 12 players remained. With so few players left, it indicated that this was the critical moment to determine the winner of the dungeon competition. As Yiwu checked the remaining players' information, Ruan Tian, with an expression of worry, gazed at the same information and asked, her voice trembling with confusion, "Why do Luo Feng's team and Zhang Yi's team keep following us all the time without doing anything?" She remained focused on the information, waiting for an answer to dissipate her confusion. Yiwu replied calmly, "It's all because Luo Feng is very cautious in every action he takes. Right now, he's hiding, observing because my performance exceeded his expectations. Once he calculates with full confidence, he will emerge to try to kill me." Upon hearing this, Ruan Tian was furious. "What a despicable act," she exclaimed. "I've also heard from Yunfei that Luo Feng has been troubling you constantly." Yiwu replied firmly, "Don't worry about that. Our main priority right now is to find the dungeon's boss." But Ruan Tian thought differently. Aware that the Shadow Dryad could merge with the forest, she said gravely, "No one has ever found it. Perhaps the Academy chose the Shadow Forest for this competition from the beginning, hoping we'd determine the winner through PvP points." Yiwu looked at her, speaking with a tone of surprise, amazed that she could come to such a conclusion. Seeing his reaction, Ruan Tian remarked with a proud smile, Just because I'm pretty, don't underestimate my intelligence. Yiwu acknowledged that the main purpose of this dungeon competition was to test each student's PvP skills. Yet, beyond this challenge, his personal goal was set to find and defeat the dungeon boss. He was driven by the belief that defeating this boss would reward him with valuable equipment and experience points. With this conviction, Yiwu decided to use his special skill which he had bought for 70,000 experience points, Eye of Reality. Once activated, a giant eye appeared in the sky, emitting energy waves like a radar that can detect creatures within its vast range. With his special skill activated, he ensured that nothing remained hidden from his sight. He successfully located the dungeon boss named Shadow Dryad, a boss that no one had ever found before. Later, the fire energy released to activate his special skill dispersed through the forest, acting like a navigation system and leading the way to the dungeon boss's location. Yiwu was immensely satisfied with the capabilities provided by this skill, especially appreciating its navigation system feature. Therefore, he decided to give it a 5-star rating. Then, Yiwu immediately ran, following the navigation's direction, loudly telling Ruintian that he had found the final boss and urging her to hurry so it wouldn't be beaten by others. Ruintian quickly followed Yiwu but asked him to keep a low profile because his shout might be overheard by others. Meanwhile, Luo Feng's team, hiding behind the bushes, heard Yiwu's words. A teammate whispered to Luo Feng that Yiwu must be joking, suspecting it was a trap meant to lure them in. Luo Feng, fuming with anger, couldn't believe this side of Yiwu, someone who, unlike his usual weak self, always needed others' help. The same teammate spoke up again, pointing out the clear signs that Yiwu had defeated almost everyone from 4 teams without them being able to fight back. Then, he asked Luo Feng, "Do you want to proceed?" Driven by his desire to join Hanmo's attack team, Luo Feng was insistent on taking points from Yiwu and didn't care about Yiwu's intentions, because he was going to make him understand with his fists. After that, Luo Feng followed Yiwu, telling his teammates to keep up with him. He had a clear objective in mind, to defeat Yiwu and conquer the final dungeon boss. All teammates followed Luo Feng and moved with him. As they were eagerly chasing Yiwu, a teammate checked the system's player location map and exclaimed in surprise, "Brother Feng, Yiwu's location. It's gone." Luo Feng's expression showed his annoyance, wondering how Yiwu could just disappear. When did he learn that skill? He felt like Yiwu was tricking him. Since Yiwu had disappeared, Luo Feng decided to surround and capture Ruintian first. He didn't think that Yiwu would just watch without doing anything. "If you want to play this game, then I will stay with you until the end, Yiwu," he said determinedly. Meanwhile, Ruintian was left alone in the forest, fear enveloping her. With a voice shaking from anxiety, she continued to call out the name of the great god. "Stop playing around, where are you? This is not the time for hide and seek." Her words echoed among the trees, but there was no reply. Before leaving, Yiwu had left her with a few words, "Please be the bait," and then he disappeared. Ruintian sighed deeply, her mind trying to figure out the meaning behind the command. After a moment of thinking, she realized that she was asked to serve as bait to lure Luo Feng and the others out of hiding. However, doubt stayed in her heart. Can they be deceived so easily? She wondered. At that moment, unbeknownst to Ruintian, Luo Feng had already stood to her right side. Suddenly, Luo Feng was in front of her, his cold eyes staring at her. "Where is Yiwu?" he asked sharply, blocking Ruintian's path. Ruintian's heartbeat sped up, surprised that her bait was taken so soon. "What do you mean by blocking me like this?" she replied, trying to hide her fear behind words. Luo Feng moved closer, pressing Ruintian with his piercing gaze. "Tell me, where is Yiwu hiding?" Ruintian felt her knees weaken, tears starting to fill her eyes. "I really don't know," she said in an almost silent voice. "You can see on the map that he's disappeared." But Luo Feng clearly didn't believe her. "Trying to fool me. Believe it or not, I will kill you right now," he threatened. Ruintian, utterly powerless, hoped in her mind that Yiwu would appear soon. She didn't know how much longer she could withstand this pressure. But instead of Yiwu, something else happened. Suddenly, the ground beneath them began to vibrate, an earthquake shaking their surroundings with mighty power. Panic spread. What's happening? An earthquake. As they focused on the quake, a large, horrifying shadow of a hand loomed above them, enveloping almost all the teammates. With a lightning-fast movement, the giant hand successfully pinned the players to the ground. Luo Feng and the 2 remaining members didn't even have time to respond. He managed to turn slightly, asking what happened. But it was too late. The immense pressure had taken their lives. A gigantic tree monster emerged from the darkness, its veins filled with a green flow that was none other than the forest's life energy. It was the final boss of the dungeon, the Shadow Dryad, a rare elite monster of level 10. Luo Feng and his teammates looked tiny in front of it. Each teammate began to tremble in fear at the sight of such a terrifying existence. They felt unlucky to have run into a boss, especially when they thought they could win just by using PvP points. Now, how would they handle this? While his teammates were still paralyzed by fear, Luo Feng bravely ran towards the horrifying monster, tightly gripping his shield. "There's no need to be afraid," he calmly told his team. "The Shadow Dryad is only level 10. And there are 10 of us." He asked his teammates to line up while he prepared to attack. Swiftly, Luo Feng launched an assault, slashing through the monster's body with his axe. He exploited the enemy's attribute weakness, wood being vulnerable to iron, making his attack highly effective. The monster responded with a terrifying roar, raising its giant hand, preparing to counterattack Luo Feng. Quickly, Luo Feng instructed his teammates, "Cast fire magic." The monster tried to attack by extending its large hand to pierce through Luo Feng, but the shield successfully deflected the attack, keeping Luo Feng safe. Amidst the clash, Luo Feng shouted to his teammates, "Keep refreshing me with health point buffs." After that, Luo Feng charged towards the monster again, shield and axe in hand, continuously being refreshed with health point buffs, and with fireballs accompanying his every step toward the creature. His teammates continuously fired fireballs at the monster, applying consistent damage per second without giving it a chance to retaliate. Amidst the intense battle, Reincarnated witnessed professional teamwork unfold before her eyes and was awestruck. Reflecting on it, she realized such cohesion wasn't typical of a newly formed team. He genuinely possessed remarkable skills. As fireballs kept raining on the monster, its health points steadily decreased drastically, 90%. 80%, 70%, accompanied by its screams of pain echoing through the area. Seeing this situation, Reincarnated became increasingly panicked, pondering and wondering where Yiwu was. If he doesn't appear or come out soon, the Shadow Dryad will surely be conquered by Luo Feng and his team. Conversely, Luo Feng was awash with confidence, firmly believing that by sustaining their present assault rhythm, victory over the monster was assured. With the numerical advantage and his leadership, he was convinced that a level 10 monster would be no more than a minor obstacle. However, his confidence faded when his attack struck the monster, causing a mere 0 damage. He quickly realized the monster had sensed danger, transitioning into a defensive mode, its body turning to stone and becoming immune to all attacks. The Shadow Dryad, previously vulnerable to the wood attribute, had now morphed into its second phase, its entire form adopting a stone-like constitution, rendering the former weakness irrelevant. Luo Feng hastily informed his teammates of this unexpected development. After transitioning to the second phase, the monster stomped forcefully onto the ground. Extraordinary momentum and pressure emerged, creating crevices that formed depressions, into which green energy began to seep. Unfamiliar with the monster's new stage and overwhelmed by the chaos, the team's courage weakened. Staring at the creature, one member voiced their collective panic to Luo Feng. "What should I do next, Brother Feng?" Suddenly, a rumbling sound emanated from beneath the ground. Tree roots began to emerge from the previous cracks, leaving the team puzzled. What is happening to these trees? They wondered. Numerous minions were summoned, simultaneously lining up, their dark, formidable forms encircling the area, sealing all escape routes. Now, the Shadow Dryad revealed not only superiority in minions but also overwhelming strength, with each of the minions possessing a formidable level of at least 7. Luo Feng tried to calm everything down, urging to flee yet maintaining their stand within the formation. All hatred was drawn towards him, and so he pleaded not to create chaos. However, no one responded to his command. Turning around, he saw teammates panicking, running aimlessly, which certainly infuriated him. Elsewhere, Reincarnated was captured by a minion, which played with her by suspending her upside down. Holding her skirt, she screamed for help from the great god. Then Yiwu came to her rescue, slamming into the monster's stomach so hard that it stumbled to the ground. Meanwhile, Reincarnated was tossed into the air. As Reincarnated fell, spinning downward, she screamed loudly. Yiwu caught her perfectly, akin to a princess's embrace, and told her that her mission was complete, and what remained was to watch and escape. Hearing this, Reincarnated was overjoyed because she could help execute Yiwu's plan. Luo Feng, busy with the minions, was enraged at Yiwu, accusing him of having everything planned out, reaping the benefits like a leisurely fisherman, which was utterly despicable. However, Yiwu was not pleased with his words because he was merely a spectator to the show. Moreover, he had indeed planned to confront the dungeon boss. Acknowledging Yiwu's abilities, Luo Feng, busy fighting the minions, requested him to act as cannon fodder and lead the Shadow Dryad towards him. Yiwu replied calmly, remarking on his sky-high arrogance. At the same moment, one of Luo Feng's teammates, charging straight ahead with a menacing tone, demanded Yiwu to clear the path or face death. However, the opposite occurred. He instead ran towards hell as Yiwu easily burned him with just a touch. From this action, Yiwu gained 85 points. Seeing his action made Luo Feng very angry. He also said to him, "How can you kill your own people at this crucial moment?" However, Yiwu responded with a face that radiated an unabashed desire, seemingly affirming his viewpoint that everyone inside this dungeon was merely a pawn in his game, just moving objects and a source of points to help him maintain his position as the champion of the dungeon competition. Enraged by Yiwu's audacity, Luo Feng, wielding an axe and shield, ran towards Yiwu, intending to kill him. Nonetheless, Yiwu appeared calm. With an expression that showed no concern, he greeted Luo Feng with the words, "Ha, so soon." Yiwu easily deflected the attack. After giving Luo Feng a powerful slap, he warned, "Without strength, emotion leads quickly to death on the battlefield." The force of the slap knocked Luo Feng to the ground. When he got up, he was filled with anger and disbelief, doubting Yiwu could defeat the dungeon boss by himself. Although he could have killed Luo Feng, Yiwu decided to spare him, planning to showcase Luo Feng's mistake by defeating the dungeon boss later on. Yiwu, surrounded by minions, lifted his hand, activating a skill that created a massive flower with a sword of flame at its core, which hovered in the sky. Before unleashing the attack, he explained to Luo Feng that this was how he claimed all the points and then retired entirely. The sword expanded, radiating fiery sword energy in all directions. This energy rapidly targeted the minions and Luo Feng's entire team, accompanied by a persistent ringing as points accumulated. Teammates perished without a fight. "Damn, Yiwu!" Their cries of agony and disbelief permeated the air. The minions also suffered, with sword energy piercing them, causing them to shriek, "Moth, moth, moth," something only their kind understood. One teammate begged Luo Feng for help, but nothing could be done. Noticing the minions' predicament, the Shadow Dryad quickly absorbed power from those on the brink of death, funneling it into its mouth. The creature transformed, its body brimming with energy until it exploded, sending fragments raining down from the sky like stone rain. From behind the dispersing dust emerged a new, horrifying figure, the Shadow Dryad, now smaller and more fearsome in its shadow state form, possessing wood and dark attributes and with only 40% of its health points remaining. Unexpectedly, Yiwu suddenly lost sight of the Shadow Dryad. Before he could react, the Shadow Dryad appeared abruptly behind him. While it still had hands, other parts of its limbs had transformed into sharp, weapon-like structures, poised to strike. He was taken aback. So fast. The Shadow Dryad's movement speed had drastically increased since its transformation. With sharp reflexes, Yiwu managed to block the Shadow Dryad's attack with his flaming sword. However, in his mind, he thought this was not the speed a level 10 boss should possess. The Shadow Dryad's attack power was overwhelming, and he couldn't withstand it, causing his body to be flung into the air. He realized that even though the Shadow Dryad had reduced in size, its speed had increased, and its strength was still as strong as before. Without a specific strategy, defeating it would be a formidable challenge. Looking up sharply at Yiwu, the Shadow Dryad prepared for another assault. Numerous sharp tree branches, enveloped in a green aura, emerged from its back. It aimed and launched them towards him, much like missiles zooming towards a target. Observing the fight, Luo Feng grinned confidently as he saw Yiwu cornered. He was confident that Yiwu couldn't kill the monster boss alone. With several swings of his flaming sword, Yiwu managed to cut through the attack, setting the pieces ablaze with his fire. For Yiwu, every dire situation had a solution, and he knew just the trick for this one. After all, this was only a level 10 boss. He only needed to exploit the monster's weak point. Facing the monster's attack, Yiwu's fire proved unstoppable, especially since creatures of the wood attribute were highly vulnerable to fire. The monster roared with uncontrollable anger, its attacks easily shattered by Yiwu. Roar! A deafening scream from the monster echoed throughout the forest. With lightning-fast movements, Yiwu suddenly vanished, reappearing behind the Shadow Dryad. The monster, disoriented, had barely any time to react before Yiwu's calm yet threatening voice said, "The simple strategy to defeat it, just add fire." The monster then turned around, unaware that numerous sword strikes had already hit its body, setting it ablaze. Its health points instantly dropped to 0. A notification appeared, declaring that Yiwu's team had successfully defeated the dungeon boss, Shadow Dryad, earning 10,000 points, and the first kill received an extra 10,000 points. With this victory, player Yiwu achieved a new milestone. After the dungeon boss was defeated, the competition in the Shadow Forest dungeon was completed, with only 3 survivors left. The portal then opened, prompting players to exit as quickly as possible. There remained an unresolved issue. Yiwu stared at Luo Feng and told him that the game was over and it was now his turn to die. Luo Feng immediately knelt before Yiwu, his face displaying a pitiful expression, pleading for his life to be spared. He also expressed willingness to become Yiwu's brother, just like before. However, Yiwu, with a flat expression and folded arms, responded that Luo Feng was no longer worthy of being his brother because he had lost that qualification. Hearing the rejection and seeing Yiwu's facial expression, Luo Feng became infuriated and tried to attack him with his axe. However, with a swift response, Yiwu severed Luo Feng's arm. Ruintian scolded Luo Feng for attempting a covert attack, telling him that such a despicable trick would be useless against the great god. Despite his sly expression, Luo Feng still had a backup plan and then threw a smoke bomb to cover his tracks and fled. As the smoke began to clear, Luo Feng had disappeared, leaving only a torn card behind. Ruintian, watching closely, instantly recognized it as a puppet card that he had just used to escape. Suddenly, Luo Feng was already in front of the exit portal, raising his left hand and saying, "Goodbye, Yiwu." His words implied a criticism. Despite Yiwu's strength, his combat experience was insufficient. Yiwu's expression turned bitter and flat. He was already familiar with Luo Feng's cunning schemes, so it no longer surprised him. Luo Feng laughed satisfyingly, half of his body already inside the portal. Turning around, he declared, "Don't think you can get points from me," bursting into hearty laughter, hinting at a system where points could be stolen or taken. Before his entire body entered the portal, Yiwu turned powerfully, releasing a slash of energy from his flaming sword while proclaiming, "In the face of absolute power, experience means nothing." The sword attack sliced through with incredible speed, cleaving the trees in its path and striking Luo Feng. Right at that moment, Luo Feng's body was cleaved in two. Without a chance to react, Yiwu successfully defeated him, taking all of Luo Feng's points. With Luo Feng's fall, the number of players left in the dungeon was now only 2, Yiwu at the top with 62,000 points, and Ruintian in second place with 21,000 points. Ruintian accumulated 21,000 points in the dungeon, which could be converted into 210,000 in currency at a 110 exchange rate, filling her with joy. At that moment, Yiwu revealed to Ruintian that he had planned from the beginning to disband the team once the dungeon was completed, solely to claim the main prize of 500,000 for himself. He then asked Ruintian not to comment on this decision. Gratefully, Ruintian took Yiwu's hand and said, "I'm truly satisfied with what we've achieved together." Seeing her reaction, a faint smile appeared on Yiwu's face. He felt relieved and thankful that Ruintian kept a positive mindset. Having successfully defeated the dungeon boss, the Shadow Dryad, Yiwu gained 50,000 experience points and an additional 20,000 points. Moreover, Yiwu obtained props, namely branches of Dryad, thick skin of Dryad, and level 10 magic crystal. Furthermore, Yiwu obtained a gemstone known as an inlaid gem. The green gemstone, now in his possession, had the ability to enhance healing rates. However, after thinking it over, he realized the gemstone was useless to him. So, he offered the gem to Ruintian. Swiftly, he threw the gem. Ruintian, with her skill, caught it deftly. Yet in that moment, confusion was painted across her face. She couldn't understand why Yiwu would give her such a valuable item. Ruintian was deeply moved after Yiwu gave her the precious gem. Even though she hadn't contributed much, she had still received this valuable gift. She wondered, could it be possible that you have feelings for me? However, Yiwu immediately replied, "Please stop your unrealistic fantasy." Then he opened the system panel to disband the team. Yiwu also explained that the precious gem was simply a gift because she had acted as bait. Suddenly, a loud warning sound echoed, a clear signal of danger. "Please leave the instance quickly," a voice commanded. A countdown timer appeared. The portal would close in 20 seconds. The sense of urgency escalated as the dungeon space began to collapse and the ground cracked open. Ruintian felt a deep panic. Holding her head, she closed her eyes tightly and exclaimed in panic, "What's happening?" Yiwu quickly realized that the abnormal situation in the dungeon might be caused by a serious event happening outside. More specifically, something seemed to be occurring at the academy. As the countdown for the dungeon's upcoming collapse continued, their surroundings began to shatter piece by piece. Yiwu shouted urgently to Ruintian, "Run faster. Get to the portal. If we're trapped here, we won't get out." Ruintian immediately sped up, responding, "Okay, I understand." However, the accelerated speed caused pain in her leg. She lost her balance and fell onto the grass. Immediately following her fall, a cry of pain escaped her lips. Hearing Ruintian's cry, Yiwu immediately stopped. He turned around to see what had happened. Clutching her injured leg, Ruin Tian explained, "It's hurting, I think it's dislocated." Yiwu responded urgently, "Now's not the time. We must reach the portal immediately." Ruin Tian, tears streaming down her face, apologized for the delay. Regretting her decision to enter such an advanced dungeon as a novice, she urged him to proceed without her. Without hesitation, Yiwu placed his hands on Ruin Tian's waist and lifted her in a bridal-style carry. He told Ruin Tian that although she often troubled him as a teammate, he couldn't just abandon her and escape alone. Using the momentum from turning on his foot, he swiftly threw her towards the nearby exit portal, exclaiming, "Here you go." After being thrown by Yiwu, Ruin Tian found herself at the portal, with half of her body already inside. Overwhelmed by emotion, she reached out her hand towards Yiwu, her voice tinged with confusion as she exclaimed, "Why are you being so foolish, sacrificing yourself for me? I don't want to escape alone." Tears welled up in her eyes and streamed down her face as she shouted, "You said you wouldn't leave your teammates, didn't you?" As the dungeon portal began to close, Ruin Tian managed to exit safely. After ensuring Ruin Tian's safety, Yiwu quickly retrieved and activated the city-town scroll, beginning the process to transport him instantly to his binding location, the dungeon exit at the academy. As he was in the midst of this transmission, with a puzzled look on his face and scratching his head, he realized he might have given the impression that he was sacrificing himself for Ruin Tian, which was never his intention. In reality, he was merely concerned that in her recklessness, she'd forgotten the city-town scroll. Yiwu managed a narrow escape from the collapsing dungeon, finding himself teleported back to the academy just in time. His surroundings were familiar, the student rest area, the predetermined binding location. Shock gripped him as his eyes fell upon the teleportation door's pathway, now a ruin. An earthquake was his first suspect, but he dismissed it quickly, knowing the robust nature of the transmission doors. Suddenly, the echoing sobs of a woman reached his ears. Drawn to the sound, Yiwu found himself behind Ruin Tian, listening to her cries. "Why were you so foolish, Yiwu?" she muttered repeatedly amidst her sobs. Yiwu replied, "Hey, who's the foolish one here? This isn't the time for such questions." Ruin Tian, startled by Yiwu's voice, quickly turned toward him. However, she then cried even harder, overcome with relief that he was alive. She had feared he was consumed by the collapsing dungeon. Yiwu tried to comfort her, gently holding her head and whispering, "Don't cry, I'm fine. I used the city-town scroll to exit the dungeon after the portal closed." Ruin Tian hugged him tightly, asking him to promise never to lie to her again. In his mind, Yiwu was perplexed. Using a city-town scroll was common knowledge for escaping a dungeon. What was she thinking? After a moment, Ruin Tian released her embrace, turned her body, her face red with embarrassment for being too harsh on Yiwu. Yiwu was taken aback and thought to himself, is Ruin Tian actually shy by nature? Soon after, the sound of footsteps from patrolling mercenaries approached. Surprised to see students in the hallway instead of locked in the gym, one of the mercenaries quickly ordered the capture of Yiwu and Ruin Tian, knowing their boss would be furious about the oversight. Ruin Tian instantly recognized them from their insignias as members of the Black Tiger mercenary group. Yiwu had heard of this mercenary group. They were infamous for committing murders in the safe zone 5 years ago and had been exiled. However, Yiwu sensed something amiss. How did a mercenary group, notorious for its malevolence and profit-seeking, infiltrate the safe zone? What were the mercenaries hoping to achieve at the academy, especially since it seemed unlikely they'd profit from it? He eventually understood that their true target was the Hanmo group, specifically Miss Mo. The mercenaries' eyes were drawn to Ruin Tian because of her beauty, and they stared with clear desire. Ruin Tian moved quickly behind Yiwu as she felt their intentions. Seeing her unease, Yiwu softly told her, "You'll be safe as long as I'm here." Seeing Yiwu's protective stance over Ruin Tian and doubting a level 3 could pose any real threat, the mercenaries immediately attacked him together. Unwavering, Yiwu readied himself and called out defiantly, "All right, come forward." With a single slash, his flaming sword managed to cleave through 2 mercenaries in mere seconds. Despite being level 15, they couldn't withstand the powerful strike and gained 2000 XP. Now, only 1 mercenary remained, with a mere 6% health points left. He was engulfed in fear, sweat streaming down his face as death loomed near. He couldn't believe that a level 3 could annihilate them, 3 mercenaries, in just 15 seconds. Yiwu approached the remaining mercenary. "Exiled mercenaries like you always have a bounty on their heads," he said coldly. "You've come all this way, shouldn't you just hand over the bounty to me?" Frozen by fear, the mercenary stumbled back, his voice trembling as he begged for mercy. In a state of desperation, he quickly gathered and presented all his valuable possessions before Yiwu, hoping they would be enough to buy his life. Yiwu eyed the offered valuables with indifference, his expression unreadable. He remained silent, then stepped forward and plunged his flaming sword into the mercenary's left shoulder. Consequently, the passive burning skill was activated, simultaneously reducing 1% of the maximum health points every second. Seeing Yiwu's disinterest in his belongings, panic seized the mercenary. In desperation, he quickly said their true mission. They were sent to assassinate Miss Mahou. As the mercenary revealed the assassination mission, a cold, mocking laugh escaped from Yiwu. That information is worthless, he declared, his voice cold and indifferent. The mercenary revealed that the entire scheme was orchestrated by the Huanzheng group. Besides recruiting them, the group granted access to a safe zone and equipped the team leader with a rare item, limiting the movements of Miss Mahou's personal guards. Yiwu pondered deeply. He knew the Huanzheng and Hanmo groups were sworn enemies, often clashing in life and death battles. Yet, by tailing Miss Mahou and aiming at the Hanmo group, it seemed the Huanzheng group was growing desperate. Pulling his flaming sword from the mercenary's shoulder, he remarked, "Your information is valuable." Sensing a hint of mercy, the mercenary quickly replied, "Thank you for sparing my life." With only 1% of his health points left and feeling close to death, the mercenary quickly drank a potion. Simultaneously, as Yiwu looked skyward, he noticed a barrier enveloping the entire academy. This presented a problem as he intended to relay information to the Hanmo group for a reward, and the barrier was preventing the information from getting out. The mercenary, after drinking the potion, found that his health points weren't increasing but continued to decrease until they hit 0. His body began to explode from the fire energy, and he felt betrayed. Yiwu clarified that he never claimed he would spare the mercenary's life. Furthermore, once affected by the passive burning skill, an individual's health points would continually decrease until they reached 0 or the individual perished, and this effect was irreversible. By eliminating the mercenary, Yiwu gained 1000 XP, 500 gold, a level 10 magic crystal, a low-level gem, and a crumpled adult magazine. Yiwu explained to Ruan Tian that the academy was blocked by an enchantment. "You need to find a safe place," he said with urgency in his voice. "Be careful, and make sure you are not found." Ruan Tian's eyes widened with concern. "Then, what's your plan?" She was aware of the mercenary group now controlling the academy, and Yiwu's instructions only amplified her anxiety. With determination in his eyes, Yiwu assured Ruan Tian, "I can handle this. I have the power to save everyone." Sensing her anxiety, he emphasized, "Your priority is to hide, stay undetected. A single mistake could be fatal." Ruan Tian's cheeks warmed. "All right, I'll hide where I can't be found." Amidst the looming danger, a surprising warmth filled her. Yiwu's concern for her safety was palpable. As they prepared to part ways, Ruan Tian's voice trembled slightly. "Be careful." Yiwu, steady and composed, replied, "Don't worry." With conviction, Yiwu said, "I know what to do." His entire focus was on ensuring Miss Mahou's safety. In the back of his mind, a clear understanding lingered. Without her, there would be no prize. A couple of mercenaries were back on patrol, with one of them questioning their leader's orders to patrol, believing that all the students had already been captured. One replied, "The leader fears there are still some who haven't exited the dungeon." The one who had questioned the orders now added, "We've destroyed the exit portal. If there are any students left, they're undoubtedly trapped in the dungeon." After completing their patrol, they finally decided to return to the captain first. At the same time, Yiwu, hiding behind a pillar, listened to their conversation intently. After seeing their levels, Yiwu realized the overwhelming strength of the mercenary group, understanding that the academy's defenses stood no chance to resist. Yet, Yiwu acted cautiously, knowing he needed a solid plan. He tried to use his True Eye skill to assess the academy's situation but had to wait for the 20-minute cooldown. He hoped Miss Mahou could hold on until then. During the cooldown of his skill, Yiwu decided to first follow the two mercenaries in hopes of gathering more information about the captain they had previously mentioned. Meanwhile, all the students had been captured and gathered into one room, their hands tightly bound. The female teacher was treated differently, seated in a chair with her hands bound tightly, desperately pleading for her release, alongside all her students. At that moment, the man pressed her cheek with his hand and declared, "In exchange for survival, you shall serve me." The teacher firmly refused, turning her face to the left and asking the man to let her go. At the same time, Luo Feng was deeply frustrated by the students' evident weakness and complaints. He believed that if the students had shown resistance, they might have given the teacher a chance to send out a distress signal. The man forcefully took hold of the teacher's clothes. With a lustful expression on his face, he pulled and ripped them apart quickly, indicating his desire to deal with the situation immediately without any delay. The teacher trembled with fear, utterly powerless to resist with her hands bound. Suddenly, before anything terrible occurred, Luo Feng intervened. Despite being bound, he stood and threw himself at the captain. He yelled at him, "Let her go, you scumbags." Although Luo Feng had a reputation for being naughty and arrogant, he regarded Teacher Li as a goddess and couldn't bear to see her treated like this. In response to Luo Feng's bravery, the captain punched him in the stomach, amused that there was still resistance. The captain was deep in thought, questioning the audacity of a level 5 kid before him. "You have special feelings for this woman," he concluded, recognizing the boy's motives. Despite being injured and bloodied, the captain saw in him the potential to be a villain. Realizing this potential, the captain instructed the boy to take the knife thrown before his face. The captain, aided by a mercenary, helped the boy to his feet. He informed him of the harsh reality. The world was ending, the safe zone's comfort was an illusion, and without power, there was no hope for survival. The captain then offered the boy a chance to survive and join the Black Tiger mercenary group, but with a chilling condition: he must kill his classmates. The students were shocked and pleaded, hearing the cruel condition, "Please don't kill us." Upon being released from his bindings, he openly admitted to being a naughty boy. The students around him trembled with fear. One of them whispered despairingly, "It's over. I'm dead." Teacher Li stood there, tears streaming down her face, as she was powerless to change the grim scene unfolding before her. Holding a knife with a firm grip, Luo Feng declared that despite his naughty demeanor, he could differentiate between reality and illusions. He then spun around, swung his knife swiftly at him, showing his refusal to join them. "Go to hell, vagrant," he spat out with disdain. However, the significant difference in their combat skills and strength allowed him to effortlessly deflect the attack. Disappointed by Luo Feng's action, the captain grabbed Luo Feng's hand in a vice-like grip, readying his machete in his other hand to strike. The machete was aimed menacingly at his head, ready to split him in two, while he tried to shield his head with his free hand. Facing his grim fate, Luo Feng realized the harsh reality of trying to do the right thing in this world, his very existence now on the brink of death. He closed his eyes, seemingly accepting his impending death. Considering the rotten state of the world, the burden of his life felt lifted. Suddenly, a voice resonated, stating, "It seems you're not as bad as I thought, Luo Feng." Immediately after, the captain screamed in pain. Blood was flowing slowly from his mouth as his machete clattered to the floor. Recognizing the owner of the voice, Luo Feng realized it was not unfamiliar to him. The captain collapsed, a weapon now stuck in his back. A green poison spread throughout his body, causing his health points to plummet by 50%. Luo Feng seemed not to realize what had happened. He was confused, expressing shock and confusion over the sudden misfortune that had befallen the man. Upon closer inspection, the deadly fangs of the Red Widow were stuck in the captain's back, inflicting damage with effects of poisoning, bleeding, and weakness. After the captain was stabbed, Yiwu appeared before everyone, having used his stealth skill to attack secretly. He then praised Luo Feng for acting like a man, despite his usual evil deeds. Yiwu's method of tracking the mercenaries was effective. He quickly checked on everyone, asking, "Are you all okay?" In his mind, he was intent on testing the limits of his leapfrog challenge method against warriors of higher levels. Seeing their captain incapacitated by Yiwu, the mercenaries grouped together, suspecting Yiwu had some enhancements, and prepared to strike him down quickly. Even though a group of mercenaries began advancing towards him, Yiwu remained calm. As the mercenaries approached, Yiwu commanded Luo Feng, "Get down quickly if you want to live." Luo Feng, puzzled by the sudden command, echoed, "Get down." Realizing the urgency in Yiwu's voice, Luo Feng didn't hesitate and quickly lay down, well aware that his head would be in the path of the slash of the flaming sword if he delayed. With a single strike of his flaming sword, Yiwu instantly killed the 5 mercenaries, earning a kill reward of 5,000 XP. Meanwhile, the immobilized captain could only watch as the head of one of his subordinates was severed and burned, landing right before his eyes due to Yiwu's attack. Naturally, this scene fueled his rage, yet immobilization rendered him powerless, leaving him with nothing but piercing looks to cast upon the scene as he witnessed his subordinates perish. After witnessing Yiwu kill the mercenaries, the students exclaimed, "Yiwu, you killed people." Luo Feng, angered by their treatment of him, rebuked, "Why were you silent before? Without his intervention, we might all be dead by now." Those mercenaries got what they deserved. Luo Feng had proven himself in a life and death test. Impressed, Yiwu offered him to become his sworn brother. Do you want to join? Luo Feng enthusiastically responded, yes, brother Yiwu. Luo Feng knelt before him, sharing his deep desire to become stronger and to no longer be belittled. He committed to do whatever necessary to fulfill this purpose. Yiwu, flicking a knife up with his foot and catching it, explained that those who truly experience life and death can understand the nature of this era. He handed the knife to Luo Feng, offering him the opportunity to claim the experience points of the incapacitated captain on the floor. You know what needs to be done, Yiwu said, looking at him seriously. Upon receiving the knife, he quickly closed in on the incapacitated captain. In a desperate bid to save himself, the captain threatened him, declaring that if he dared to kill him, his entire family would meet a deadly fate in retaliation. With the knife gripped tightly in both hands above the captain's body, he was reminded of the savage acts committed by the mercenary group in the past. The memories strengthened his determination, erasing any moral conflict he might have had about executing this act. The captain was in a dire situation, with the effects of poisoning, bleeding, and weakness leaving his health points at a mere 1%. A single stab from him would suffice to end the captain's life, sending him to the afterlife. Thus, he pleaded for mercy. Unfazed, he remained resolute and plunged the knife into the captain, blood splattering in the aftermath. A notification marked the moment, indicating that he had leveled up by +5 after gaining a substantial amount of experience points from killing a level 25 warrior. He was surprised and excited as he advanced 5 levels at once, now becoming level 10, marked by a surging energy aura emanating from his body. After that moment, Luo Feng knelt before Yiwu to express his deep gratitude and pledge his full loyalty to him. Yiwu responded, okay, don't overdo it. Seeing Luo Feng, a new recruit, gain enormous benefits and jump 5 levels at once, a crowd of students turned to Yiwu, begging him to let them join and promising to follow every command. Yiwu responded, are you worthy? His question pointed out their previous silence when there was unfairness. Luo Feng paused and addressed the crowd, you should be grateful for being saved. Now, be silent. Teacher Li expressed her gratitude towards Luo Feng for his unexpected bravery in defending her during a critical moment, despite his notorious reputation among the teachers. Upon receiving praise from Teacher Li, Luo Feng blushed with embarrassment. He replied, saying there was no need for gratitude as his reputation as a mischievous student gave him the courage. Furthermore, he couldn't bear to see his teacher being bullied. At that moment, Yiwu interrupted their conversation, urging him to come and assist in untying the other students. Then, Teacher Li turned to Yiwu, asking about the plan moving forward as the academy remained sealed. With no escape routes available, no means to call for help, and many students were still held captive. Responding with a calm demeanor, Yiwu reassured, don't worry, I will find a way. Shortly after, a system notification alerted him that the cooldown period for the True Eye skill had ended, making it available for use at any time. This notification brought him a sense of relief. It was now the right time to use the skill to reveal the layout of the academy area. Once the skill was activated, a large eye appeared in the sky, emitting energy waves like sonar to display the structure of the academy buildings and living beings. Upon examining the detailed display of the building structure, Yiwu noticed that many teachers and students were held captive in the indoor sports hall. In the rest area, he noticed an individual with a level of 45, undoubtedly the mercenary group's leader, and another with a level of 40 in the academy's parking area, likely a deputy commander. Yiwu then directed Luo Feng to take Teacher Li and others to the warehouse for safety. Luo Feng, eager to join him, proposed, we can kill those mercenaries together. With a casual demeanor, Yiwu responded, you're still a burden to me. The important task is to protect Teacher Li and the others. He then tossed the Red Widow's deadly fang to Luo Feng, stating, this is for you. Catching it, Luo Feng realized the battle item, which had been used to defeat a level 25 mercenary, was too grand for him. Yiwu advised Luo Feng to keep the item, suggesting to avoid confrontation, but if forced to fight, to strike decisively from behind for maximum damage. With confidence, Luo Feng clenched his fist to his chest, declaring his prowess in stealthy strikes. His declaration left the two friends behind him stunned. Yiwu was in the parking area, hiding behind a wall while checking his system panel to plan his next move. Despite the advantage of the Emperor Kai Yan account, he lacked confidence facing a level 45 leader with a 33 level difference. He peeked to assess the situation in the academy parking lot, feeling doubtful about the leapfrog challenge. With a link level of 12, he might be able to fight against level 25. But what about level 40? Then, he saw an armed vehicle with mercenaries surrounding it. realizing a 28 level difference was not a safe situation, so he needed to increase his link level. With that thought, Yiwu entered the system space. In front of the Emperor Kaiyan account, the system informed that Yiwu had accumulated 50,000 XP points and could choose to increase the link level or unlock a special skill. Yiwu chose to increase the link level. With those XP points, the link level increased by +9, making the current link level 21. Following this, a sensation of full-bodied strength emerged once again, and his personal level rose by 1, reaching level 4. He then understood that the ratio between link level and personal level was 10:1. When his link account reached level 20, the special talent was successfully activated, presenting 2 talent branches, DPS and talent. Yiwu thought, considering there was still a 20 level difference, opting for a defensive talent was a sensible choice since survival was the main priority. Therefore, he selected the defensive talent, and now his defensive skill had achieved 1 star. With this selection of the defensive talent, a new active skill was added and unlocked, named Deflagration, a close-range skill designed to ignite a target. The skill seemed intriguing, and suddenly, with this skill in his possession, an idea sprang to his mind. 2 mercenaries were on guard, vigilantly securing the perimeter and deep in conversation. One mercenary told him, "The end time seen outside the safe zone is completely 2 worlds." The other mercenary replied, "Despite being as strong as our Black Tiger mercenary corps, I dare not completely leave the safe zone. Moreover, it's rumored that that land is a product of the time before the Earth All era, a time when powerful and ferocious monsters emerged from dimensional portals, causing devastation and transforming the depths of the unknown continent into a realm dominated by these creatures, marked by the remnants of once majestic skyscrapers." However, while they were deep in conversation, marks from rapid sword slashes suddenly appeared on their bodies before they could even react. Almost immediately, they were consumed by flames, their pain-filled screams breaking the silence. Yiwu, with his flaming sword, swiftly moved past them and confidently positioned himself behind them, gaining an additional 2,000 XP. Nearby mercenaries quickly realized the threat and unleashed a hail of bullets at Yiwu, who let the kid roam around. One of them shouted, while another added, "Enough with the nonsense. Kill him." Yiwu deflected each torrent of gunfire with his flaming sword, thinking on his feet. In the midst of the chaos, he realized that these mercenaries didn't have a base and always carried their valuables with them. Hence, that armored truck might be their storage for precious items. Once the rain of bullets subsided, several bombs began falling around him. A massive explosion followed, its deafening roar accompanied by a mocking laughter. Big Gun stood atop an armored truck, a lit cigarette in his mouth. He was a level 40 deputy commander of the Black Tiger mercenary group. He confidently addressed his subordinates, "Don't panic. He's just a rat. Once we've roasted him, our problem's solved." Seeing their deputy commander took action, the mercenaries cheered, confident that the kid would be utterly destroyed. Yet, from behind the blazing flames, the silhouette of Yiwu began to emerge. He firmly responded to the mocking mercenaries, "Really, if you wish to cook me, these flames won't be enough." With conviction, he emphasized his words by swinging his flaming sword, creating a vortex of fire that turned back upon them. The deputy commander's eyes widened in disbelief at the sight before him. Panic painted his face as he realized that 6 high-explosive grenades couldn't kill him. "A 4th-level kid," he exclaimed in shock. Seizing the moment, Yiwu taunted the deputy commander further, challenging him to unleash his full power. In this situation, Yiwu found himself particularly impressed by his own defense talent, which was merely at a 1-star level, yet it displayed such a robust defense. As he activated his skill, 4 shields materialized, enveloping and firmly protecting his body. The deputy commander, clearly provoked by Yiwu's words, fired his weapon, the Chell Screamer, with its unlimited ammunition effect. "I don't care about your background," he shouted. Daring to oppose the Black Tiger mercenary group is a dead end. In a tense situation, Yiwu ran swiftly, dodging every bullet aimed at him. Even as bullets flew past him, he appeared calm. He admitted that this kind of pressure was what level 40 should have. With strong determination, he accelerated his pace towards the deputy commander. He knew that the leapfrog challenge would become even more significant given the level disparity between them. As the gap between them narrowed, he pushed off the ground and leaped into the air, with his flaming sword ready to strike. However, the deputy commander swiftly continued to shoot at him. He was amazed by Yiwu's resilience. "A leapfrog challenge with level 4. Are you out of your mind?" The deputy commander taunted. He slashed towards his adversary, but the attack was blocked by the deputy commander's weapon, causing his health points to decrease by 2%. He looked furious. "Do you think I'm that weak? I'm level 40, and you dare to launch such a weak attack to kill me, he said, scoffing. Yiwu was shocked, realizing the massive 19-level gap had a significant impact on physical prowess, making it such that he couldn't hurt him much. Seizing the moment of Yiwu's distraction, the deputy commander swung his weapon, aiming to strike him down. His voice dripped with indignation. I struggled to reach level 40 outside the safe zone. How dare a mere level 4 like you look down upon me? After the deputy commander's powerful slam, Yiwu found himself sent flying, still suspended in mid-air. He quickly braced himself and activated his skill, unleashing the explosive fire dragon bomb. As it roared towards the deputy commander, Yiwu challenged, knowing that upgrading is not easy. Why would you foolishly kidnap Miss Mo? Holding a blue triangular item in his hand, the deputy commander smirked. Do you have any idea how valuable Miss Mo's head is? As the explosive fire dragon bomb neared its target, the deputy commander, standing atop an armored truck, slammed the triangular item downward onto the vehicle. Instantly, a circular shield adorned with hexagonal patterns materialized, protecting him from the impending explosion. The resulting explosion caused 0 damage, leaving the shield and its protector unscathed. In his mind, Yiwu realized that his actual combat skills and the various combat auxiliary abilities he possessed were far inferior to his opponents. Now, he was left with only one trick to defeat him. With no other options left, Yiwu chose to charge forward, closing in on the deputy commander while shielding himself behind his protective barrier. The deputy commander, noticing this maneuver, confidently fired at him. He then laughed mockingly and remarked, after the trick was broken by me, he seems to have lost his sanity. Did he break the pot in desperation? Ah, the kid is just a kid. As Yiwu approached him closely, the deputy commander continued to shoot relentlessly. I admit, your defense is indeed strong, said the deputy commander while shooting, but you just stand there like a steak. It's so boring. How long can you endure this, Yiwu? Finding the right moment, Yiwu began to execute his final trick. He knew that this skill required close range to be activated. As his initial move, Yiwu thrust his flaming sword into the ground. The deputy commander, sensing something was off, exclaimed, "What trick is this?" Before the deputy commander could react, Yiwu activated his special skill with the command deflagration. This triggered a massive explosion that even affected Yiwu himself. Although he hid behind his shield, the explosive impact significantly reduced his health points. With this unexpected move, the battle was nearing its climax. Who would emerge victorious? Only one move remained to determine the outcome.